Chapter 3704. Finally, Qi Xiong approached the peak of the mountain. He carefully looked for cover and approached Princess Wufeng. The mountain was littered with rocks, so it was easy to find cover. Qin Feiyang hid in the void and followed Qi Xiong. From his point of view, the sneaky Qi Xiong looked quite comical. When Qi Xiong sneaked to the last cover, he was only a few meters away from Princess Wufeng and the silver dragons. In fact, a few meters away, no matter how well he hid, it was easy for the other party to notice. After all, experts at the sovereign realm were far more sensitive to danger than ordinary people. As for now, Princess Wufeng and the silver dragon did not notice it at all because of the fluctuations from the battle of the sovereigns. These fluctuations could hide everything. In addition, their attention was focused on the battlefield in front of them. Their sense of danger was greatly reduced. Do it! Qi Xiong smiled coldly and shouted at Qi Yefeng. Boom! The two of them attacked almost at the same time. Qi Yefeng slapped at Princess Wufeng's sea of qi. Qi Xiong also dashed out from behind cover like a bolt of lightning. He was holding a dagger in his hand, which he aimed directly at the silver dragon chief's back. Before the two of them could react, their sea of qi was destroyed on the spot. Qi Yefeng, what are you doing? Princess Wufeng stared at Qi Yefeng in shock and anger. Qi Xiong, why are you here? The silver dragons exclaimed. Qi Xiong. Princess Wufeng was shocked and immediately looked at the silver dragons. She saw a middle-aged man standing behind the silver dragons. Who else could it be but Qi Xiong? Why can't I be here? Qi Xiong smiled coldly. As his voice fell, Qi Xiong waved his hand and a soundproof barrier appeared. Although the battlefield of the sovereign's divine weapons was far away, it was better to be cautious. Princess Wufeng and the silver dragons looked at each other and then at Qi Xiong and Qi Yefeng. She said in a low voice, you colluded with each other? Yes. How can we let you have the three sovereigns' divine weapons? Qi Yefeng nodded. Don't forget that we have already formed an alliance. The silver-haired patriarch was seething with anger. Alliance? Not bad. We have indeed formed an alliance, but I don't think there's any rule that says that we can't make a move on you. Qi Xiong and the other man laughed. Princess Wufeng said gloomily, you're breaking the rules. Aren't you afraid that Dragon King and Feng Ho will find out and settle the score with your Qilin clan? Young man, you are still too naive. When we leave the Heaven Bell Divine Treasury, the Divine Kingdom will descend. Do you think that in the face of the powerful Divine Kingdom, Feng Ho and the Dragon King would still have the mood to find trouble with our Kirin clan? No. By then, even Feng Ho and the others will have no choice but to swallow their anger and fight against the Divine Kingdom with us. Qi Yefeng chuckled. Hearing this, Princess Wufeng and Princess Yu's hearts sank. He had really been plotted against. They were still too naive. They thought that Qi Yefeng would also look at the big picture like them, but the other party didn't think so at all. Instead of worrying about my Kirin clan, you might as well worry about your current situation first. I've already endured the two of you to the extreme. Qi Xiong sneered. At this moment, Qin Feiyang was also standing inside the soundproof barrier. Hearing this, a trace of curiosity crept up on his face. Princess Wufeng didn't mention it for the time being. After all, she had offended Qi Xiong in the Kirin Holy Land. However, the silver dragons didn't seem to have done anything to let Qi Xiong down. How could he endure it to the extreme? At the same time, the silver dragons also had a puzzled look. Let's talk about you first. Qi Xiong looked at Princess Wufeng and sneered, you are obviously the princess of the Fire Phoenix clan, but you fooled around with Qin Feiyang and the others. You even spoke rudely to me in the Kirin Holy Land. Do you really think that with the Fire Foam people backing you up, I won't dare to touch you? You are a despicable person, and you won't let others say it? Princess Huifeng's eyes were gloomy. I'm despicable. Qi Xiong laughed and looked at Princess Huifeng. He shook his head and said, "It seems that your father has really spoiled you. You don't even know the basic respect for your elders." After saying that, he raised his hand and slapped Princess Huifeng hard on the face. An eye-catching palm print immediately appeared, and a trace of blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. She looked pitiful. Your father can't bear to teach you a lesson, then let me do it. Qi Xiong kicked again. Princess Huifeng immediately half-knelt on the ground. Her lower abdomen was exposed, and her face was twisted in pain. Do you deserve respect? Besides, even your own son is like that. Are you qualified to teach me a lesson? Princess Huifeng was furious to the extreme. Don't mention my son. When Qi Xiong heard this, he was like an enraged beast. He rushed forward and grabbed Princess Huifeng's neck. He said ferociously, "If it weren't for you, my son's power of law would not have been taken away. He deserves it. Tell me the truth." Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, Golden-Winged Wolf King. If it weren't for their identities, regardless of talent or character, they would be above you. The dignified Kirin clan, for your own selfishness, you didn't hesitate to plot against your allies behind their backs. I really feel sorry for you. Princess Huifeng sneered. Even now, you're still protecting them? Look at you, you're really stubborn. Qi Xiong stepped on Princess Huifeng with one foot. His face was incomparably ferocious. To this, Qi Yefeng did not show the slightest bit of sympathy. The Silver Dragon's chief was furious. He said in a deep voice, "No matter what, she's still a junior. If you want to kill her, be straightforward. Why do you have to torture her like this?" Shut up. Qi Xiong stared at the Silver Dragon's chief and laughed sinisterly. Since you're in such a hurry to jump out, then I'll talk about you. The Silver Dragon's chief said, "Then tell me, how did I offend you?" Qi Xiong said, "Do you still remember the last time, when I joined forces with you to ambush Qin Feiyang and the others at the entrance of the Death Glacier?" "I remember. I didn't go." The Silver Dragons nodded. "Then why didn't you go? 9 of the 10 great clan leaders of the dragons have gone. You're the only one who didn't go. Tell me, what's the meaning of this? As a common enemy, shouldn't we all be united against a common enemy? If you're so cowardly, do you still deserve to be the Silver Dragon clan's patriarch? If I'm a joke, then aren't you an even bigger joke?" Qi Xiong shouted angrily. "Just because of this, you're starting to hate me?" The Silver Dragon's chief was stunned. "Isn't that enough?" Qi Xiong sneered. Good, good, good. Your Excellency's breadth of mind is admirable." The Silver Dragon's chief was so angry that he laughed. How could there be such a self-righteous person in this world? You told me to ambush Qin Feiyang, and I had to listen to you and ambush Qin Feiyang. What the hell? Not to mention Qi Xiong, even the ancestors of the Qilin clan were not qualified to order him, the Silver Dragon's chief. The only person qualified to order him was the leader of the dragons, the Dragon King. The more he thought about it, the more ridiculous it was. You don't know how to repent, and you're still being sarcastic with me. Qi Xiong was like an angry lion. He rushed in front of the Silver Dragons and raised his hand to slap him. If you have the ability, then try slapping me. Let's see if this matter can be resolved peacefully. The Silver Dragon's chief was not afraid at all. His eyes were full of coldness. Hearing this, Qi Xiong's hand paused in the air. His expression was uncertain. Even your big brother Qi Ji, the leader of the Fire Qilin clan, has to be polite to me, let alone you. If you dare to slap me today, I promise that the soul I left outside will immediately bring people to kill your Qilin sacred land. You should have left your soul in the Qilin sacred land too, right? Do you think you'll be able to keep the wisp of soul you left behind? Don't forget that Qin Feiyang is still in the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. If you didn't have that strand of soul to protect your life, then there's no need for me to tell you what would happen to you when you encounter Qin Feiyang, right? The Silver Dragon's chief sneered. Qi Xiong's pupils shrank. Qi Yefeng could not help but frown. The Silver Dragon's chief was different from Princess Huifeng. Although Princess Huifeng was the daughter of the Fire Feng people, she was still a junior. However, the Silver Dragon's chief was one of the leaders of the dragons. Whether it was strength or status, he was not inferior to them. If it really reached the point of a life and death struggle, as long as the Silver Dragon's chief said a word, the flames of war between the two clans would completely start. They could not bear the consequences of such a thing. Qi Yefeng looked at Princess Huifeng and asked, "You also left your soul in the phoenix nest?" "Of course." Princess Huifeng smiled coldly. Qi Yefeng's eyes darkened. The Fire Feng people's chief was also an extremely protective person. And Princess Huifeng was his beloved daughter. Once this matter was known by the Fire Feng people's chief, he would undoubtedly fly into a rage. Originally, they thought that Princess Huifeng did not leave her soul in the phoenix nest, so as long as they did it cleanly, the Fire Feng people's chief would not be able to find out. But now, it seemed that they could not hide it at all. However, it was already too late to regret. Qi Yefeng looked at Qi Xiong and sighed, "Let's give them a quick death." At the very least, they could not let Qi Xiong continue to torture them like this. Otherwise, there would really be no way to save them. "Qi Xiong, why don't you hit them? If you don't hit them with this slap, I will look down on you." Suddenly, a mocking voice suddenly sounded from the side. Hearing this voice, whether it was the chief of the Silver Dragons or Qi Xiong and Qi Yefeng, their faces changed. A trace of joy rose in Princess Huifeng's eyes. As the voice fell, Qin Feiyang came out of his invisible state. Qin Feiyang. Qi Xiong and Qi Yefeng immediately looked as if they were facing a great enemy. Previously, the chief of the Silver Dragons had just mentioned this person. They did not expect him to appear immediately. Was his mouth blessed? "Don't move. The sovereign divine weapon beside me is not to be trifled with." Qin Feiyang looked at Qi Xiong and Qi Yefeng and laughed. Qi Xiong and Qi Yefeng originally wanted to escape, but when they heard this, they immediately became obedient and trembled. "Why are you here?" Princess Huifeng ran to Qin Feiyang's side and asked suspiciously. Although Feng Ho had already told them to get rid of Qin Feiyang if they had the chance, but now that she saw Qin Feiyang, no matter what, she did not have the slightest hostility in her heart. On the contrary, when she saw Qin Feiyang appear, it was as if she had seen her family. Her heart felt unprecedentedly at ease. Chapter 3705. Speaking of which, this is fate. Not only did I meet you, but I also met them. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Them? Princess Huifeng was taken aback. When Qin Feiyang spoke of them, he was naturally referring to the Green Cauldron, the ancient pagoda, and the Great Golden Bell. However, he didn't give any unnecessary explanations. He glanced at the Fire Phoenix eldest princess and said, "Why are you so close to me? We are opponents now." Princess Huifeng's expression froze. She lowered her head and said, "You already know. There's nothing wrong with my ears. I heard your conversation just now." Qin Feiyang pursed his lips. "Let me explain," Princess Huifeng hurriedly said. "No need to explain. I can understand your situation. After all, it's Feng Ho's idea." Qin Feiyang waved his hand and smiled. He looked up at Qi Xiong and said playfully, "Why don't you hit him? The chief of the Silver Dragons can't fight back now. What are you afraid of? Why, do you want me to look down on you? What do you want to do?" Qi Xiong's eyes were gloomy. "Isn't it because I want to see the three races form an alliance? So, I have to find a way to break up your alliance. If you slap the chief of the Silver Dragons now, the dragons won't let it go. In that case, I'll just sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight." Qin Feiyang laughed. "You really don't hide it at all." Qi Xiong's eyes flashed coldly. "Why should I hide it? Do you think I'm like you? You say one thing on the surface and another behind it. It's too tiring. Let me tell you, if you don't slap him today, I'll let you have a taste of being trampled under someone's foot and living a life worse than death." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "Is he helping me to avenge my humiliation?" Princess Huifeng muttered. Qi Xiong clenched his fists. "It seems that you can only show off with your mouth." Qin Feiyang shook his head in disappointment. In fact, he was forcing Qi Xiong. He wanted to see if Qi Xiong had a sovereign-level divine weapon. From the looks of it, there shouldn't be any. Based on Qi Xiong's personality, if Qi Ji's sovereign divine weapon was in his hands, he would have attacked in anger. "All right. I'm not in the mood to torture you. The two of you can just kill yourselves. In any case, I've left my divine soul outside. It would be a complete waste of time for me to act personally." Qin Feiyang looked at Qi Xiong and Qi Yifeng. Wasting time? The two of them were furious. He wasn't even willing to make a move. How much did he look down on them? What is it? Do I need to repeat myself? Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. You know that we left our divine souls outside, yet you still dare to be arrogant. We are not afraid of death, but what about you? If I'm not wrong, you didn't leave your soul outside before coming to the Heaven Bell divine treasure, right? Let's perish together. Qi Xiong laughed sinisterly as a destructive aura rushed out of his body. Self-destruct. That's right. You want to sit back and reap the benefits? No way. Qi Yifeng also wanted to self-destruct. They wanted to use self-destruction to alarm the sovereign divine weapon so that Qin Feiyang wouldn't be able to take advantage of it. Sigh. Qin Feiyang shook his head and sighed. Perish together. They were all super experts. How could they be so naive? If he didn't have enough confidence, would he dare to appear so openly? The Grim Reaper sword appeared. The sharp light instantly swept out in all directions. Accompanied by a painful scream, the 2C of Qi shattered on the spot. The self-destruction was forcefully cut off. Qin Feiyang stepped forward, grabbed Qi Xiong, and pressed him to the ground. He smiled and said, "How does it feel to be pressed against the ground?" "You will die a horrible death." Qi Xiong roared. "I'm sorry. Not only will I live well, but I will also live a more exciting life than you." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. The law of destruction gushed out from his palm and drowned Qi Xiong. Accompanied by a painful scream, Qi Xiong was crushed bit by the power of destruction. Although his divine soul was left outside, the pain before death was enough to be remembered for the rest of his life. Good kill. Princess Huifeng and the Silver Dragons couldn't help but clap their hands and cheer. What about you? Qin Feiyang clapped his hands and looked up at Qi Yifeng. It's a small world. Let's wait and see. Qi Yifeng looked at Qin Feiyang coldly and immediately destroyed her divine soul. Because she knew that Qin Feiyang definitely wouldn't let her go. So instead of being tortured to death, it was better to die directly. At least it wouldn't be so painful. At least you know your place. Qin Feiyang retracted his gaze and looked at the Silver Dragons and Princess Huifeng. Thank you, little brother. The Silver Dragons bowed and thanked him. Senior, you don't have to be so polite. Similarly, I don't want to make things difficult for you. After all, I am more or less related to your daughter. So, I hope you can end it yourself. Compared to when he faced Qi Xiong and the other two, Qin Feiyang's current attitude toward the Silver Dragon clan's clan chief was already considerably polite. Understood. The silver dragons nodded and glanced at the Sky Bell divine treasure. He couldn't help but feel a little regretful that he had to leave before encountering any good fortune. At the same time, he also felt a myriad of emotions. The current Qin Feiyang was no longer the Qin Feiyang who had just entered the Sky Cloud realm. Now, even supreme experts like them had to be respectful in front of this child. Sigh. With a sigh, the silver dragons decisively destroyed their divine soul. Only Princess Huifeng was left at the scene. Don't look at me. I can't just leave like this. But you and the silver dragon's daughter, what's the relationship between the two of you? Princess Huifeng saw Qin Feiyang looking at her and asked curiously. It has nothing to do with you. Also, we're talking about you now. Why are you staying in the Sky Bell divine treasure? Qin Feiyang frowned. Why do you care? Princess Huifeng snorted coldly. Qin Feiyang's face darkened as he said angrily, you shouldn't have come to the Sky Bell divine treasure in the first place. It had already opened the door of potential and stayed in the phoenix nest to cultivate in seclusion. Was it uncomfortable? Why did it have to come here to join in the fun? If you can come, why can't I come? Princess Huifeng was a little unconvinced. Qin Feiyang rubbed his forehead weakly. Princess Huifeng secretly smiled proudly, as if to say, see, even this fierce person can't do anything to me. Suddenly, she seemed to have thought of something and asked shyly, what about him? Who? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Princess Huifeng blushed and said angrily, aren't you asking the obvious? Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with a hint of ridicule, and he frowned very seriously. How would I know what you're asking? Aren't you annoying? Of course I'm asking him. Princess Huifeng was extremely anxious. Him? Who is it? Can you make it clear? I don't like to talk in riddles. Qin Feiyang was suspicious, but he was secretly happy in his heart. It seemed that this woman still had some feelings for the white-eyed wolf. Princess Huifeng was so angry that she was trembling, and finally said weakly, the white-eyed wolf. So you're asking about the white-eyed wolf? Qin Feiyang suddenly realized. Princess Huifeng blushed and asked, I didn't see him at the Sea of Heavenly Clouds, did he not come in? This, Qin Feiyang pretended to ponder. What's wrong? Did something happen to him? Seeing this, Princess Huifeng's face immediately revealed a trace of anxiety. Sigh. Qin Feiyang sighed deeply, and a trace of sadness appeared on his face. He sighed and said, all right, since you missed the white-eyed wolf, I won't make things difficult for you today. What do you mean by this? Princess Huifeng asked nervously. It's a long story. But I believe that the white-eyed wolf's spirit in heaven will be very gratified to know that there are still people who miss him. Qin Feiyang lamented. Spirit in heaven, when Princess Huifeng heard this, her body suddenly stiffened, and her expression became dull. Sure enough, it's only useful to be stimulated. Qin Feiyang laughed secretly. But isn't this method of stimulation a bit inappropriate? The Grim Reaper's sword transmitted. Qin Feiyang said proudly, in terms of strength, I'm not as good as you, but in terms of the matters between men and women, you're definitely not as good as me. Is that so? But why did I hear that you were an idiot in love before? The Grim Reaper's sword laughed mockingly. Who said that? Qin Feiyang said angrily. It doesn't matter who said it. In any case, you're really not qualified to talk about the matters between men and women. The Grim Reaper's sword looked down on him. Qin Feiyang's face twitched. No matter what, he was still an experienced person. An experienced person was not qualified. Boom! At this moment, a terrifying aura rolled over. Qin Feiyang was shocked. He looked up and said in a deep voice, this aura, it should be that reclusive old antique of the dragons. Yes. He should have sensed the fluctuations of Qi Xiong's self-destruction, so he ran back to check. The Grim Reaper's sword replied. Since we've already been exposed, there's no need to hide anymore. Let's go. Let's go to the battlefield directly and give you a surprise. Qin Feiyang laughed. The Grim Reaper's sword immediately released its divine power and wrapped around Qin Feiyang. Suddenly, it asked, "What about her?" Qin Feiyang turned to look at Princess Huifeng, who was in a daze. After pondering for a while, he said helplessly, "Take her with us. After all, she might be my future sister-in-law. I can't just leave you here and let her fend for herself." Sister-in-law. It's a bit too early to say that. The Grim Reaper's sword wrapped around Princess Huifeng again. Its divine power condensed into a barrier to protect the two of them. Then, it turned into a stream of light and flew toward the center of the battlefield without hiding. Soon, a figure came toward them. White hair and an old body. It was that reclusive old antique of the dragons. Qin Feiyang. When he saw Qin Feiyang, the white-haired old man's face suddenly changed. He immediately stopped in the void with a trace of fear in his eyes. What he was afraid of was naturally not Qin Feiyang, but the Grim Reaper's sword that was floating above Qin Feiyang's head. Why is Princess Huifeng the only one left? Where are Qi Yefeng and the silver dragons? What did you do to them? The white-haired old man stared at Qin Feiyang angrily. Killed. Qin Feiyang said expressionlessly. Without the slightest hesitation, he directly rushed toward the white-haired old man. The white-haired old man was angry and panicked. He kept retreating. Chapter 3706. A reclusive old man is afraid of me. Qin Feiyang pursed his lips in ridicule. He was polite to the chief of the silver dragons because of the little princess of the dragons. After all, they were partners. Besides, the chief of the silver dragons didn't come during the ambush last time, which was a kind attitude. As for the other dragons, he wasn't in such a good mood, so he was very polite. Hearing this, the white-haired old man felt humiliated and said angrily, "Put down your sovereign divine weapon if you dare. Let's see how I kill you. Are you stupid? If it were you, would you put down your sovereign divine weapon and fight someone who is much stronger than you with your bare hands?" Qin Feiyang sneered. The sword of Thanatos sped up. The white-haired old man immediately turned around and ran toward the center of the battlefield. Why are they here? At the center of the battlefield. The sovereign divine weapons, the Feng people and the reclusive old men of the Kirin clan all sensed the aura of Qin Feiyang and the sword of Thanatos. Two completely different emotions arose in their hearts. The reclusive antiques of the Phoenix clan and the Qilin clan, as well as the four sovereign divine weapons of the Fire Phoenix clan and the Divine Jade clan, were all nervous. The Green Cauldron, the Golden Bell and the Ancient Pagoda were a little happy. Whoosh! The white-haired old man rushed to the center of the battlefield and landed next to the Feng people and the two old men of the Kirin clan. Is it him? The reclusive old man of the Feng people asked hurriedly. Yes. The white-haired old man nodded. This little bastard really knows how to join in the fun. The two old men's eyes darkened. Little bastard. You don't like me that much? It seems that I don't have any deep hatred for you. Qin Feiyang came and stood in the void opposite them, looking at them with a smile. The old man of the Kirin clan said with a hoarse laugh, "Little brother Qin, how can we not like you?" That's not true. Qin Feiyang chuckled. Old antique Feng people looked at the barrier and saw that Princess Huifeng was alone. He asked suspiciously, "Where are Qi Yefeng and the others?" "He's been killed." Old Dragons said in a deep voice. What? The pupils of the Feng people and Qilin race's old antiques contracted. As expected, this was a vicious and merciless junior. But why did he keep Princess Huifeng alive? Impossible. I don't believe it, you must be lying to me. At this moment, Princess Huifeng finally recovered. She rushed in front of Qin Feiyang and roared hysterically. Princess Wufeng's sudden shout not only startled Qin Feiyang, but also the three old antiques and the sovereign divine weapons. "What's going on?" Qin Feiyang said helplessly. "I say, big sis, can you tell what the situation is right now?" "I don't care. You have to make it clear to me." Princess Wufeng shook her head. "Alas. I can only say I'm sorry. Cherish each other in your next life." Qin Feiyang sighed deeply and pushed Princess Wufeng away. When Princess Wufeng heard this, it was as if she had been struck by a bolt from the blue, and she directly collapsed. Old antique phone people looked at Princess Wufeng in surprise and asked, "What's wrong with you?" But Princess Wufeng didn't seem to hear him and kept mumbling. Why did it become like this?" Her eyebrows were filled with pain and despair. The three old antiques looked at each other. What on earth was going on? "Don't worry. She's fine. She'll be fine after calming down for a while." Qin Feiyang looked at the three of them and smiled faintly. Old antique phone people looked suspiciously at Princess Wufeng, then looked at Qin Feiyang and said with a smile, "Since Brother Qin is here, we might as well join forces." "Join forces?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. The old antiques of the dragons and Kirins looked at each other and frowned. Frankly speaking, they were very unwilling to join forces. But in the current situation, if they didn't join forces, then Qin Feiyang would definitely interfere. Old antique phone people pointed at the ancient pagoda, the green cauldron, and the golden bell and asked, "Do you see those three sovereign divine weapons?" "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded. "They are the sovereign divine weapons of the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. As long as we join forces, we will definitely be able to take them down." Old antique phone people smiled confidently. Qin Feiyang glanced at the three sovereign divine weapons. After such a long battle, the bodies of the three sovereign divine weapons had already suffered some damage. At this moment, the green cauldron, the ancient pagoda, and the golden bell's hearts were also drumming. They were already in an extremely dangerous situation when the three races joined forces. If Qin Feiyang joined forces, what would happen? One had to know. They knew of Qin Feiyang's strength, and had even seen with their own eyes how the golden dragon spear, white dragon sword, ice phoenix sword, and black dragon mirror were all subdued by Qin Feiyang. Not to mention joining forces with the three great races, even if it was just Qin Feiyang alone, he could easily suppress them. But was Qin Feiyang such a person? After all, they had helped Qin Feiyang back then. Could it be that this human was also a two-faced despicable person? After confirming the injuries of the three sovereign divine weapons, Qin Feiyang retracted his gaze and looked at the three old antiques, smiling. "It's not a problem to join forces." The three of them were overjoyed. The mood of the green cauldron and the other two sovereign divine weapons instantly fell to the bottom. It seemed that they had really made a mistake. Qin Feiyang looked at the three old antiques and said with a faint smile, "After all, we are now four forces joining forces. No matter what, there should be four sovereign divine weapons for us to share. That is indeed a problem. However, we can wait until we suppress them first, then we can slowly discuss it." "That's right. If it really doesn't work, we will use the most primitive method and draw lots to decide." The three old antiques laughed. "Draw lots to decide? This method is quite humane." However, at this point, Qin Feiyang suddenly changed the topic and chuckled, "I'm more interested in the sovereign divine weapons of your three races." "What?" The three of them were shocked. The Fire Phoenix Divine Jade, Fire Phoenix Sword, Silver Dragon God Bow, and Qi Yefeng's sovereign divine weapon could not help but feel their hearts tighten. This tone was not right. The corner of Qin Feiyang's mouth lifted slightly, and he raised his head to look at the three sovereign divine weapons, cupped his hands and smiled. "Three seniors, we are really fated to meet again so soon." The three sovereign divine weapons were stunned. Such a respectful tone, such a friendly attitude, could it be that they had misunderstood this human? At the same time, the three old antiques and the four sovereign divine weapons were shocked. Qin Feiyang knew the three sovereign divine weapons. Qin Feiyang's gaze turned and landed on the three old antiques. He smiled. You still don't know, right? These three seniors have helped me before. Moreover, Green Cauldron knows my ancestor, the Emperor of Feathers. Do you think I will help you suppress them? The three old antiques' hearts sank when they heard this. Am I, Qin Feiyang, the kind of person who bites the hand that feeds me? I am sorry. If I don't suppress them, it will be you. Qin Feiyang looked at Green Cauldron and the other two sovereigns' divine weapons and said, Seniors, let's join hands and kill them. That's right. As expected, I didn't misjudge you. Green Cauldron laughed. You really gave me a fright. Since we are going to do it, let's do it to the end. The ancient pagoda and the golden bell also laughed. To be honest, they had been frightened earlier. Boom! The three sovereign divine weapons unleashed terrifying auras as they charged towards the fire phoenix divine jades for sovereign divine weapons. With a loud clang, the ancient castle flew out from Qin Feiyang's body and charged forward with monstrous divine might. 4 against 4, of course, they were not afraid. Damn it! The three old antiques were furious. They looked at the four sovereign divine weapons and roared, Retreat! Once Qin Feiyang decided to help Green Cauldron and the three sovereign divine weapons, they could only run away. Retreat? Is that possible? All of you, die. Qin Feiyang's eyes were filled with murderous intent. The sword of the Grim Reaper immediately attacked the three old antiques with a sharp edge that could destroy heaven and earth. Whether in terms of strength or speed, the sword of the Grim Reaper was superior to them. There was no suspense at all. I wanted to learn about your ultimate ultimacy, but I am not in the mood now. When I return to the Sky Cloud Realm, I will find you and ask for your advice. Qin Feiyang looked at the three old antiques and said. Okay. I hope that when the time comes, you will not hide behind the sovereign divine weapons. The three old antiques said coldly. Of course. Qin Feiyang smiled. Following a loud explosion, the three old antiques were completely destroyed by the terrifying sharpness of the sword. Clang! The sword of the Grim Reaper attacked the four sovereign divine weapons. 5 against 4. This time, the Fire Phoenix sword and the other three sovereign divine weapons were in a passive position. The Silver Dragon God Bao and Qi Yefeng's sovereign divine weapons were already afraid of retreating. However, the Fire Phoenix Divine Jade and Fire Phoenix Sword were desperately resisting. Don't worry about Princess Wufeng. Anyway, she left her divine soul outside. Even if she dies in Qin Feiyang's hands, it won't matter much. Break out of the encirclement with us. The Silver Dragon God Bao roared. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and looked at Princess Wufeng. Hey, don't be in a daze. Tell the Fire Phoenix Sword and Fire Phoenix Divine Jade to stop. Otherwise, I will destroy them together. Princess Wufeng quivered and finally came to her senses. Boom! At this time, the four sovereign divine weapons had already begun to break out of the encirclement. Even the ancient castle could not stop them. Princess Wufeng suddenly pointed at Qi Yefeng's sovereign divine weapons and shouted, Fire Phoenix Sword, Fire Phoenix Divine Jade, help suppress the Heavenly Star Sword. What? The Fire Phoenix Sword and Fire Phoenix Divine Jade were stunned. Why did she ask them to help suppress the Heavenly Star Sword? The Heavenly Star Sword and Silver Dragon God Bao were also shocked to the extreme. The Heavenly Star Sword came back to his senses and hurriedly shouted, Fire Phoenix Sword, Fire Phoenix Divine Jade, don't mess around. She must be controlled by Qin Feiyang. I'm not controlled by him. You guys were fighting here before, so you don't know. Qi Xiong was also nearby and teamed up with Qi Yefeng to sneak attack me and the silver dragons. If not for Qin Feiyang's appearance, I don't know how much I would have been tortured by them. Princess Huifeng coldly snorted. Bastard! Fire Phoenix Sword, Fire Phoenix Divine Jade, and Silver Dragon God Bao flew into a rage when they heard this. Princess Huifeng sneered, Heavenly Star Sword, I don't believe that as Qi Yefeng's sovereign divine weapon, you don't know about this? The Heavenly Star Sword was a little flustered. You guys are really good at scheming. When we and the 3 sovereign divine weapons of the Green Cauldron are both injured, your Qilin clan will come and reap the benefits. This is the alliance you guys were talking about? Bastard, I'm going to destroy you today. Not only the Fire Phoenix Sword, Fire Phoenix Divine Jade, and Silver Dragon God Bao were also crazily attacking the Heavenly Star Sword. As a sovereign divine weapon, how could it tolerate others using it as a pawn? Chapter 3707. This sudden scene made the ancient castle, the Sword of Death, the Green Cauldron, the ancient pagoda, and the Golden Bell couldn't help but be stunned. This was too dramatic. In the blink of an eye, the Silver Dragon God Bao, the Fire Phoenix Divine Jade, and the Fire Phoenix Sword all changed sides. Then now, the Heavenly Star God Sword was fighting alone. Facing the 8 sovereign divine weapons alone, wasn't this only the fate of being beaten? Clang! Clang! After the ancient castle and the other 4 sovereign divine weapons came back to their senses, they once again joined the battle. There was no suspense at all in the situation of 8 against 1. In just a moment, the Heavenly Star God Sword was forcibly suppressed, and its body was torn apart. Stop! Seeing that the Silver Dragon God Bao and the 3 sovereign divine weapons had no intention of stopping, Qin Feiyang hurriedly shouted. No matter what, the Heavenly Star God Sword was also a sovereign divine weapon. If it was destroyed like this, it would be a pity. With Qin Feiyang's shout, the ancient castle and the Sword of Death immediately stood in front of the Heavenly Star God Sword, blocking the Silver Dragon God Bao, the Fire Phoenix Sword, and the Fire Phoenix Divine Jade. The Green Cauldron, the ancient pagoda, and the Golden Bell, after a slight hesitation, also landed beside the ancient castle and the Sword of Death. At this moment, the Silver Dragon God Bao and the 3 sovereign divine weapons, if they dared to continue to attack, they would definitely be suppressed by the 5 sovereign divine weapons. To this, the Silver Dragon God Bao and the 3 sovereign divine weapons, although unwilling in their hearts, could only retreat to the side. They did indeed have the idea of destroying the Heavenly Star God Sword. After all, they had already agreed in advance that the 3 major races would form an alliance, but the result was that they were still plotting against them behind their backs. How could they tolerate this? However, looking at Qin Feiyang's current posture, it was clear that he wanted to subdue the Heavenly Star God Sword. Although they were all sovereign divine weapons, facing the current Qin Feiyang, they really didn't dare to offend him. Qin Feiyang breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he stopped it in time, otherwise the Heavenly Star God Sword would really be destroyed. Immediately, he looked at the shattered Heavenly Star God Sword. I submit. Before Qin Feiyang spoke, the Heavenly Star God Sword took the initiative to roar. Ugh! Qin Feiyang was stunned. Gu Bao and the other sovereign divine weapons were also shocked. Surrender just like that? Wouldn't that be too spineless? Actually, this was the smart move of the Heavenly Star God Sword. If it didn't submit now, not only the Silver Dragon God Bao and the other 2 sovereign divine weapons, even Qin Feiyang wouldn't let it go. The Silver Dragon God Bao and the other 3 sovereign divine weapons were already enough to make it despair, let alone Qin Feiyang's 5 sovereign divine weapons. If he wanted to live, he had to be decisive. Not bad. I like your decisiveness. Make a blood oath. Qin Feiyang regained his senses, looked at the Heavenly Star God Sword and laughed. All right. The heavenly star god sword did not hesitate and quickly swore a blood oath. Once the oath seal was formed, it meant that they were officially under Qin Feiyang's command. Gu Bao and the other sovereign divine weapons immediately turned from strong enemies to companions. Therefore, the heavenly star god sword immediately wanted to take revenge. Qin Feiyang, why don't you take the opportunity to take the silver dragon god Bao, fire phoenix sword, and fire phoenix divine jade? As soon as the heavenly star god sword said this, the atmosphere instantly froze. The silver dragon god Bao, fire phoenix sword, and fire phoenix divine jade were extremely nervous. Another scammer? But the two of us like it. The gold sun divine sword and the silver moon divine sword ran out and laughed. When they were forced to submit, they immediately thought of dragging others down. If this wasn't a scammer, what was? There are two more sovereign divine weapons. Princess Huifeng's eyes trembled. The silver dragon god Bao, fire phoenix divine jade, and fire phoenix sword were also extremely shocked. They had never seen these two divine swords before. Moreover, their bodies were seriously damaged. Obviously, Qin Feiyang had subdued them in the Heavenly Bell Divine Treasure. How long had it been since he came to the Heavenly Bell Divine Treasure? He had actually subdued two sovereign divine weapons. The two swords, the Heavenly Star God Sword, Qin Feiyang's original sovereign divine weapon, the Ancient Castle, the Horsetail Whisk, the Grim Reaper's Sword, the Blood Dragon Blade, and the sovereign divine weapons of the Demon Palace and the Heavenly Palace. Now, didn't Qin Feiyang already have 9 sovereign divine weapons? Such a foundation was already enough to compete with the 4 Forbidden Lands and the Heavenly Cloud Sea. But they didn't know. Now, Qin Feiyang didn't only have these sovereign divine weapons. He also had the Ice Phoenix Sword, the Golden Dragon Spear, the Black Dragon Mirror, and the White Dragon Sword. There were a total of 13 sovereign divine weapons. Even if he returned the Grim Reaper's Sword and the sovereign divine weapons of the Demon Palace and the Heavenly Palace, he still had the capital to compete with the Forbidden Lands. As for the Dragon King and the other giants, although they were very powerful, don't forget that Qin Feiyang also had a big killer move, the Slaughter Domain. The Fire Phoenix Sword came back to her senses and hurriedly said, "Qin Feiyang, no matter what, we have some friendship after all, I hope you can show mercy." Even the sovereign divine weapons had to lower themselves to gain sympathy. That's right. Once upon a time, we fought together. If you really want to, you can look for the silver dragon god Bao. After all, you have always been on bad terms with the dragons. It's understandable for you to look for the silver dragon god Bao. The Fire Phoenix Divine Jade also said. Hearing this, the silver dragon god Bao said angrily, "You two are bastards." Ha! The two sovereign divine weapons smiled awkwardly. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed and suddenly looked at the silver dragon god Bao. The silver dragon god Bao's heart jumped. Was he really going to attack it? "I won't force you. You choose," Qin Feiyang said with a smile. "What? You want me to choose?" The silver dragon god Bao was stunned. It was simply too unexpected. One had to know. In the current situation, if Qin Feiyang really wanted to force it to submit, it had no choice at all. But it never expected that he would let it decide for itself. When did this person become so kind? This was not in line with his personality. The dragons will be destroyed sooner or later. Thus, if you continue to follow the Dragon Clan, I can announce to you your future ending right now. You are destined to perish. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. So confident? The silver dragon god Bao sneered. Of course. The dragons are now on the decline, it's just that you don't know yet. Qin Feiyang nodded. I really don't know. The silver dragon god Bao snorted. Qin Feiyang said with a faint smile, then we'll wait and see. The door on my side will always be open for sovereign divine weapons like you. The silver dragon god Bao pondered for a moment and said, "Okay, I'll remember what you said today. See you later." With that, the silver dragon god Bao turned around and flew away like lightning. You really let it go just like that? The golden sun divine sword was stunned. Qin Feiyang silently watched the silver dragon god Bao leave and said with a smile, "I can force the other dragons to submit, but the silver dragon god Bao, it will come to me sooner or later." So confident. The golden sun divine sword was speechless. It really didn't know where this confidence came from. Whoosh! The Fire Phoenix sword and Fire Phoenix divine jade came back to their senses and immediately rushed into Princess Wufeng's body. They were also confident that as long as they hid in Princess Wufeng's body, Qin Feiyang wouldn't do anything to them. But in fact, they were thinking too much. Qin Feiyang never thought of forcing them to submit. After all, his relationship with Princess Wufeng had already reached this point. If she really got together with the white-eyed wolf in the end, wouldn't that be equivalent to a flood rushing into the Dragon King's temple and fighting each other? Even if the white-eyed wolf didn't get together with her in the end, with the kindness and trust that Princess Wufeng had for them, he would be too embarrassed to do anything. Qin Feiyang turned to look at Princess Wufeng and said, "I say, why don't you not wander around here and go back to the phoenix nest to cultivate? As for the Fire Phoenix Divine Jade and Fire Phoenix Sword, I will take good care of them for you." Wander around? Princess Wufeng was stunned and immediately glared at Qin Feiyang and said angrily, "Do I look like I'm wandering around? As for taking care of them, I don't dare to give them to you even if you have such good intentions." Cough cough. Don't doubt my intentions. Not to mention others, just for you, I really have a clear conscience. Qin Feiyang was helpless. Don't give me that. Princess Wufeng snorted and said in a low voice, "Let's get down to business. Who killed him?" Ah. Qin Feiyang looked at Princess Wufeng. Did she really believe his nonsense? Why didn't he realize that this woman was so innocent before? "I'm asking you a question." Princess Wufeng said angrily. "You want to avenge him?" Qin Feiyang asked. Princess Wufeng snorted, "I'm not that kind. I just want to see who has the ability to kill him." "You don't mean what you say." Qin Feiyang shook his head and sighed, "But you don't have to worry about this. I will handle it myself." Princess Wufeng said angrily, "You have to tell me, or I won't let you off." "Then I really want to know, how do you plan to let me off?" Qin Feiyang looked at her in amusement. She obviously wanted to avenge the white-eyed wolf, but she just had to be stubborn. These people were too stubborn when it came to relationships. I'll keep pestering you. I don't believe that I can't find out anything if I keep following you." Princess Wufeng said angrily. "Up to you." Qin Feiyang shrugged. Princess Wufeng was so angry that she gritted her teeth, but there was nothing she could do. Qin Feiyang walked to the green cauldron, the ancient pagoda, and the golden bell and said with a smile, "Seniors, I'm sorry that I acted a little late and caused you to suffer." "It's fine." The green cauldron laughed hoarsely, a trace of weakness in his voice. After fighting with the silver dragon god and the 4 sovereign divine weapons for so long, he was indeed a little weak. "Then you have to be careful in the future. There are still many people from the 3 races in the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. If they find you, they won't let you off easily." Qin Feiyang warned. "Thank you for your concern. But then again, I thought that I had repaid the Feather Emperor for saving my life back then by helping you last time. I didn't expect that in the blink of an eye, I'll owe you another favor. It seems that the karma between this sovereign and the Qin clan is really unbreakable." The green cauldron laughed bitterly. "There's nothing to owe. We're all friends. It's only right that we help each other." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "Friends," the green cauldron mumbled. The ancient pagoda and the golden bell also had some thoughts in their hearts. They didn't expect that there would be such a young man among the humans. Old Death Knell, old devil, how about this? Since we have nothing to do, why don't we escort him to the exit of the Sky Bell Divine Treasure together and repay this favor? On the way, we can also take revenge on the dragons, the Foam people, and the Kirin clan. The ancient pagoda suddenly said. Chapter 3708. When Qin Feiyang heard this, he couldn't help but look at the ancient pagoda. Escort him? Really? If the three Dominator divine weapons really came to escort him, then in the future, it could be said that he would be able to kill any god or devil that stood in his way. The most important thing was, when everyone was together, he would have a lot of opportunities to convince the three Dominator divine weapons to follow him out of the Heavenly Bell Divine Treasure. This proposal is fine. Lu Ding pondered for a moment and said. The Golden Bell said, since even the old devil has agreed, this sovereign naturally has no objections. Qin Feiyang was secretly delighted when he heard this, and bowed, then I'll have to trouble the three seniors to take care of me in the future. The three Dominator divine weapons laughed. This kid's popularity is really good. Fire Phoenix Sword and Fire Phoenix Divine Jade couldn't help but mutter when they saw this scene. Clang! Suddenly, the sound of a sword rang out. Following closely, a ray of light streaked across the sky like lightning and flew towards them. Ice Phoenix Sword. Qin Feiyang raised his head to look, and a trace of joy immediately crept onto his face. At the same time, Princess Wufeng couldn't help but frown. If the Ice Phoenix Sword was here, then Bing Running must be here as well. I finally found you. The Ice Phoenix Sword flew over and said happily. Qin Feiyang laughed, I was looking for you guys too. What's going on? Princess Wufeng was surprised. When enemies meet, shouldn't they fight? Why was this man and sword talking and laughing now? She's here too. Seeing that Princess Wufeng was also here, the Ice Phoenix Sword seemed to be a little nervous. I just happened to meet him. Qin Feiyang laughed. What a coincidence. The Ice Phoenix Sword was helpless. Why did he meet this woman? Now that it was following Qin Feiyang, it was equivalent to being the enemy of the Foam people. Ignore her. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and asked suspiciously, where have you and Li Feng been in the past 10 years? Where else can we go? I've been accompanying him to hunt skeletons. Ice Phoenix Sword said. Are you sure? Qin Feiyang asked. It's been confirmed. It is indeed the same secret technique as the Blood Ancestor. In the past 10 years, he has been constantly absorbing the souls of the dead. He has already raised the power of the laws of space to the level of ultimate profundity. That's unbelievably fast. Ice Phoenix Sword exclaimed. What? Qin Feiyang was dumbfounded. Isn't this a little too fast? In just 10 years, he had raised an ultimate law to the level of an ultimate profundity. If this continued, wouldn't he be able to raise an ultimate law to the level of an ultimate profundity before the end of the Sky Bell Divine Treasure? This was simply heaven-defying. Ice Phoenix Sword changed the topic and said in a deep voice, but now, he has encountered a big problem. What trouble? Qin Feiyang was bewildered. Ice Phoenix Sword replied, our wanton killing of dead souls has attracted the attention of the Primal Chaos Royal City, Chaos Royal City. Qin Feiyang was taken aback. What? The Primal Chaos Royal City actually noticed you. At the same time, Green Cauldron, Ancient Pagoda, Golden Bell, Gold Sun Godly Sword, and Silver Moon Godly Sword were also shocked. Qin Feiyang looked at the 5 sovereign divine weapons in surprise. Why were they so surprised as well? Yes. Not only did the Primal Chaos Royal City notice us, but they also sent people to arrest us. Ice Phoenix Sword said. Why are you so careless? Even we don't dare to provoke the Primal Chaos Royal City, let alone you. Green Cauldron said in a deep voice. What exactly is the Primal Chaos Royal City? Qin Feiyang looked at Green Cauldron suspiciously. If even the sovereign divine weapons were so afraid, it was definitely not ordinary. The Primal Chaos Royal City is also a sovereign divine weapon. But its level is higher than ours. Green Cauldron said. Higher level than yours? Then isn't that an intermediate sovereign divine weapon? Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. If it was before, he definitely wouldn't know what an intermediate sovereign divine weapon meant. But now, after the Grim Reaper sword and the two battle swords explained the levels of sovereign divine weapons to him, he knew how serious this matter was. An intermediate sovereign divine weapon was comparable to an existence that grasped the ultimate meaning of the two strongest laws. Not to mention provoking such a terrifying divine weapon, it was best to run away as soon as they saw it. It might not be an intermediate sovereign divine weapon. It might be even stronger. Green Cauldron said solemnly. What? It might be even stronger. Qin Feiyang was shocked. But the Primal Chaos Royal City isn't the only terrifying one. There's someone even more terrifying. This is the master of the Primal Chaos Royal City. Green Cauldron said solemnly. Master? Qin Feiyang was bewildered. That's right. This person is also an undead, but he has already condensed a physical body, no different from you humans. He calls himself the Divine King of Primal Chaos. His strength is so strong that he can be considered the strongest person in the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. All the undead in the Sky Bell Divine Treasure have to listen to his orders. You can say that he's the king here. Even we have to be respectful to him. Green Cauldron said. The Divine King of Primal Chaos, Qin Feiyang murmured. Never would he have thought that the Sky Bell Divine Treasure actually had such a peerless expert. How strong is the Divine King of Primal Chaos and the Primal Chaos Royal City? The Grim Reaper sword asked. I don't know. Rumor has it that the Primal Chaos Royal City is a pinnacle sovereign divine weapon. There are also rumors that it's an autarch sovereign divine weapon. As for the Divine King of Primal Chaos, similarly, there are many different opinions. Some say that he has already grasped the 5 ultimate meanings. There are even rumors that he has grasped the 6 ultimate meanings. Green Cauldron said. What? Qin Feiyang was shocked. Princess Huafeng and the Grim Reaper sword also trembled. Even the ancient castle was extremely fearful of them. Of course. This is just a rumor. No one knows their true strength. I'm afraid that even the 10 demon kings under him are not sure. In short, this time, you have provoked an existence that you shouldn't have provoked. Green Cauldron sighed. 10 demon kings. Qin Feiyang once again fell into a state of shock. Yes. The Divine King of Primal Chaos has 10 demon kings under him. These 10 demon kings have already condensed flesh and blood. Each of them is extremely powerful. However, speaking of which, Green Cauldron seemed to have something that he couldn't figure out and muttered to himself. However what? Qin Feiyang was puzzled. However, the Divine King of Primal Chaos and the Primal Chaos Royal City have never cared about the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. It's even difficult to meet them. Why would they take the initiative to appear this time? In their eyes, the skeletons of the Sky Bell Divine Treasure are nothing at all. Why would they come to make things difficult for Li Feng and the Ice Phoenix Sword just to hunt some skeletons? Green Cauldron's tone was full of doubts. What about the last time? When the Sky Bell Divine Treasure opened last time, did the Divine King of Primal Chaos appear? Qin Feiyang looked at the Ice Phoenix Sword and asked. No. To be honest, in the past, we only heard of the existence of the Divine King of Primal Chaos and the Primal Chaos Royal City from the mouth of the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. As for their original bodies and the 10 demon kings, I have never seen them before. The Ice Phoenix Sword said. Then this is really strange. He didn't appear last time, but he ran out this time. Qin Feiyang frowned. Let's not talk about this for now. Hurry up and think of a way to save Li Feng. The Ice Phoenix sword urged. Save Li Feng. Qin Feiyang was slightly startled, and said in surprise, "Don't tell me that Li Feng has already fallen into the hands of the Primal Chaos Royal City." "I don't know either. The situation at that time was too dangerous. The two of us were separated when we were escaping." The Ice Phoenix sword sighed. Qin Feiyang's eyes darkened, and said, "Quickly lead the way. Don't go. If you go, you will die." The scarlet gold bell hurriedly stopped him. Qin Feiyang looked at the green cauldron, the ancient pagoda, and the scarlet gold bell, and shook his head. "Thank you for your concern, but I cannot abandon my companions. As for the three seniors, the situation has forced me, so I will not force you." Finished. Qin Feiyang then kept the ancient castle, the death god's sword, and the two great divine swords, and then followed the Ice Phoenix sword and left without looking back. "Wait for me." Princess Huafeng immediately chased after him. Fire Phoenix Divine Jade and Fire Phoenix Sword kept trying to persuade her not to join in the fun, but she didn't listen at all. "You're really going to throw your life away?" The ancient pagoda looked at Qin Feiyang's back view with a firm attitude. This was courting death. "What should we do?" the scarlet gold bell asked. "Sigh. Let's follow him and take a look. After all, he saved our lives." The green cauldron sighed deeply. "What bad luck." The ancient pagoda and the scarlet gold bell said angrily, and together with the green cauldron, they chased after Qin Feiyang. Princess Huafeng caught up to Qin Feiyang, looked at the Ice Phoenix sword suspiciously, and asked, "What's the situation with the Ice Phoenix sword?" "It has already submitted to me." Qin Feiyang thought. "What?" Princess Huafeng was stunned. Even the Ice Phoenix sword had submitted to this bastard. "What about Bing Ruoning?" she asked again. "Of course I've already sent her to hell." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Princess Huafeng's pupils contracted. He was indeed a ruthless person. "No, you really want to follow me?" Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. "Nonsense. This princess has always kept her word." Princess Huafeng coldly snorted. "Now is not the time to be willful. You heard what Lu Ding and the others said just now. The Chaos Imperial City is not something we can provoke. It's too dangerous for you and me." Qin Feiyang rubbed his forehead. At the same time, the Fire Phoenix Divine Jade and the Fire Phoenix Sword were also secretly persuading him. "It's fine. I have the protection of the Fire Phoenix Divine Jade and the Fire Phoenix Sword." Princess Huafeng waved her hand. Hearing this, the two sovereign divine weapons didn't know whether to laugh or cry. There was really no need to trust them so much. Because when they really encountered the Chaos Imperial City, they might even have to run away. All right, if you want to follow me, then follow me." Qin Feiyang was helpless. He looked at the Ice Phoenix sword and asked, "How far is it?" "Quite far. It took me half a year to come back." The Ice Phoenix sword said. "That's indeed not an ordinary distance." Qin Feiyang whispered. The speed of the sovereign divine weapon was even faster than the instantaneous time. For example, the Sky Cloud Realm. The Sky Cloud Realm was already very big, but it only took half a month for the sovereign divine weapon to travel across the Sky Cloud Realm. And now, it would take half a year to travel from here to the scene of the incident. One could imagine how big the Sky Bell Divine Treasure was. It was estimated that the entire Sky Bell Divine Treasure would need at least dozens or even hundreds of Sky Cloud Realm to compete with it. Chapter 3709. He really didn't expect that there would be a world bigger than the Sky Cloud Realm. Just how many terrifying experts were hidden in this Sky Bell Divine Treasure? Qin Feiyang suddenly realized that the Sky Bell divine treasure wasn't as simple as it looked on the surface. Swoosh! At this time, the Green Cauldron and the 3 sovereign divine weapons caught up. 3 seniors, what are you doing? Qin Feiyang looked at them in surprise. The ancient pagoda coldly snorted, don't misunderstand, we are not accompanying you to your death. We are just going to try and see if we can get the Chaos Imperial City to give us some face and not make things difficult for you. Qin Feiyang's expression froze, and said gratefully, thank you. The pure gold bell said, restrain your auras, don't make too much of a commotion, now is not the time to complicate matters. All right. Qin Feiyang nodded. At that moment, whether it was Qin Feiyang, Princess Hufeng, or the Ice Phoenix Sword, they all restrained their auras to the extreme. The Green Cauldron, the Ancient Pagoda, and the Pure Gold Bell were no exception. Time passed. 2 months passed. Although they had restrained their auras and encountered many skeletons along the way, when they saw the sovereign divine weapons like the Ice Phoenix Sword, even the skeletons with incomplete consciousness did not dare to approach. As for the human-shaped skeletons, they, who had complete consciousness, naturally did not dare to provoke them. On this day, a dilapidated ancient town appeared in front of them. The ancient town covered an area of about a few miles. In this endless and desolate land, it seemed very inconspicuous. The Ice Phoenix Sword let out a surprised sound. What's wrong? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. The Ice Phoenix Sword said suspiciously, when I came back, I didn't seem to have seen this ancient town. It can't be. Qin Feiyang was surprised. It couldn't have appeared out of thin air, right? Let me confirm. The Ice Phoenix Sword stopped, and the divine sense rolled out in all directions, covering hundreds of millions of miles of land. At the same time, Qin Feiyang, Fire Phoenix First Princess, and Green Cauldron, the 3 sovereign divine weapons, were also looking at the ancient town suspiciously. After a while, the Ice Phoenix Sword retracted the divine sense and said in a deep voice, I am sure that I have never seen this ancient town. This, Qin Feiyang and Princess Hufeng looked at each other. Could it really have appeared out of nowhere? Not only that, when we came back, Li Feng and I had hunted skeletons in this area, but we didn't see them. Look at the mountain over there. The Ice Phoenix Sword pointed to the ground to the left. Qin Feiyang looked up and saw a giant mountain that was tens of thousands of feet high sitting on the ground in front of him. It was like a lifelike giant tiger, which was particularly eye-catching. Because of that mountain, I have a special impression of this place. Furthermore, we encountered over a dozen human-shaped skeletons here. Ice Phoenix Sword said. Could it be an illusion? Princess Hufeng was suspicious. Everyone saw it. How could it be an illusion? Qin Feiyang shook his head. Princess Hufeng said, that's hard to say, because some illusions can confuse everyone's eyes. Upon hearing this, Qin Feiyang frowned slightly and immediately activated his Eye of Life and Death. Princess Hufeng, the Green Cauldron, the Ancient Pagoda, and the Pure Gold Bell looked at Qin Feiyang's eyes. What was that? Suddenly, the Green Cauldron, the Ancient Pagoda, and the Pure Gold Bell shook. Could it be the legendary Eye of Life and Death? Princess Fire Phoenix, on the other hand, had a confused look on her face. This pair of eyes gave her a very uncomfortable feeling, as if they could tear apart a person's disguise and see all the secrets in their heart. However, in her memory, she couldn't find any information about this pair of eyes. The power of life and death, Eye of Life and Death, these things were not only unfamiliar to Li Feng, but also to Princess Hufeng. Looking at Qin Feiyang again. After activating his Eye of Life and Death, he looked at the ancient town below again. He didn't know if he didn't look, but he was shocked when he saw it. The original ancient town was in ruins, and there was not a single living creature. But at this moment, in front of his Eye of Life and Death, the ancient town had changed drastically. Now, what he saw was not an ancient town, but a castle that covered an area of dozens of miles. It was completely black and dazzling like gold. And this castle was not damaged at all. The most important thing was that in the castle, he saw at least a few thousand human-shaped skeletons. More than half of them were blood-colored human-shaped skeletons, and the remaining half were actually golden human-shaped skeletons that were even more powerful than blood-colored skeletons. One had to know. The golden human-shaped skeletons had already been seen in the first ancient city that Qin Feiyang and Li Feng had entered. This kind of skeleton had mastered the supreme profound of the strongest law. Human. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang was shocked, and his gaze was locked on the center of the black castle. In a room in the center of the castle, he actually saw a human. That's right. That was a living human with flesh and blood. He was about 20 years old and was over 2 meters tall. He was extremely tall and sturdy, like a small giant. He stood in front of the window of the room with his arms crossed, as if he was also looking at Qin Feiyang. And the strange thing was that between the young man's eyebrows, there was a black flame pattern imprinted on it. It was like a cluster of devil flames, emitting an astonishing aura. He can see this king. The young man was indeed sizing up Qin Feiyang, and there was a trace of doubt between his brows. But suddenly, the young man looked at Qin Feiyang's eyes, and a trace of shock immediately crawled up his face. Could this be the legendary Eye of Life and Death? Let's go. High up in the sky. Qin Feiyang suddenly retracted his gaze, looked at the Ice Phoenix sword, and secretly roared. The Ice Phoenix sword was stunned. Princess Huifeng, the Green Cauldron, the Ancient Pagoda, and the Golden Bell were also shocked. What's going on? Quick! Turn around! Qin Feiyang urged. The Ice Phoenix sword quivered. Perhaps it was Qin Feiyang's Eye of Life and Death that saw something terrifying. It immediately rolled up Qin Feiyang and Princess Huifeng and turned around to flee. The Green Cauldron, the Ancient Pagoda, and the Golden Bell also quickly followed and asked, "What did you see?" "A black castle. And a large number of human-shaped skeletons. And I saw a living person." Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. "A person?" Princess Huifeng said in surprise, "Is it really an illusion?" "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded. Princess Huifeng asked, "Could he be from our sky cloud realm?" "No. I have seen all the people who entered the Sky Bell Divine Treasure this time, so I dare to conclude that he is not from our sky cloud realm." "And do you think the people of the sky cloud realm will stay with thousands of human-shaped skeletons?" Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. "Then, isn't he an undead condensed into flesh and blood?" Princess Huifeng was shocked. 100%. Qin Feiyang nodded. Black Castle, the Green Cauldron pondered for a while and asked, "What does that person look like?" "More than 2 meters tall, young man, very strong, and the most obvious characteristic is that there is a cluster of black flame pattern between his eyebrows," Qin Feiyang said. Black Castle. Black Flame. When the Green Cauldron, the Ancient Pagoda, and the Golden Bell heard this mark, their expressions suddenly changed and they secretly said, "Faster, don't let him catch us." "You know him?" Qin Feiyang was surprised. "Yes. If your description is correct, then he is one of the 10 great demon kings under the divine king of primal chaos, Black Flame Demon King. And that Black Castle is his sovereign divine weapon, Black Flame Demon Castle." The Green Cauldron said in a deep voice. "Black Flame Demon King." Qin Feiyang and Princess Huifeng looked at each other. This Black Flame Demon King has the ability to create illusions, and it is quite terrifying, making people unknowingly fall into the illusion. If you didn't have the Eye of Life and Death to see through the illusion, I'm afraid we would be finished by now. The Ancient Pagoda and the Red Bell spoke one after another, their words full of fear. Qin Feiyang, the Sword of Death, and Princess Huifeng heard this and couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. They didn't expect that they had already walked through the gates of hell without anyone knowing. Then how strong is this Black Flame Demon King? The Sword of Death asked. I don't know. But this lord has heard a rumor. It is said that once, the Black Flame Demon King suppressed a low-level sovereign divine weapon with a wave of his hand. The Green Cauldron said. What? Suppressed a low-level sovereign divine weapon with a wave of his hand? Qin Feiyang was stunned. To suppress a low-level sovereign divine weapon, one must at least master 2 ultimate laws. This was incredible. He didn't expect to meet one of the top 10 demon kings so soon. Wait. Why is he here? Could it be that he knows that we are going to find Li Feng, so he came to intercept us halfway? Qin Feiyang was surprised. I'm not sure, but no matter what, we can't fight him head-on. The Green Cauldron's tone was extremely solemn. Qin Feiyang turned his head to look behind. Seeing that the Black Flame Demon King didn't chase after them, he couldn't help but let out a long breath. Looking back, he glanced ahead and pointed to a river on the right, saying, We'll go around the river. River? Princess Huifeng and the 4 sovereign divine weapons were slightly stunned when they heard this. They looked to the right. Where was the river? It was clearly an endless stretch of mountains. Huh? Qin Feiyang looked at the reaction of Princess Huifeng and the 4 sovereign divine weapons. He was slightly stunned and closed the Eye of Life and Death. At that moment, the river disappeared. It was indeed a mountain range. What was going on? He opened the Eye of Life and Death again. The mountains and rivers disappeared and the river reappeared. Damn it! Qin Feiyang's eyes immediately darkened, and said angrily, We are still in the illusion. Because this was the only explanation. The Eye of Life and Death was different from what the naked eye could see, so it could only be an illusion. What? Still in the illusion? Princess Huifeng and the 4 sovereign divine weapons were shocked. Could it be that they had already fallen into an illusion from the moment they saw the ancient town? Break for me! Qin Feiyang roared, and the Eye of Life and Death surged out waves of black and white divine light, like angry waves in the ocean, rolling out in all directions. The Eye of Life and Death couldn't see through illusions, but it could break them. Crack! At that moment, under the gaze of Princess Huifeng and the 4 sovereign divine weapons, the void and the earth were like a broken mirror, crazily shattering. Soon, the illusion disappeared. The real scene also appeared in front of their eyes. At this time, they realized that although they had been running for so long, their bodies had not moved at all. They were still standing in the same place. This undoubtedly confirmed their guesses. From the moment they saw the ancient town, they had already fallen into an illusion. Chapter 37:10. So scary. Unknowingly, we fell into an illusion. It feels like the illusion I experienced when I entered the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. Princess Huifeng's face was full of lingering fear. If it weren't for Qin Feiyang's help to break the illusion, she would have been in deep trouble. Qin Feiyang stared at the black castle below warily and asked, You also experienced an illusion before entering the Sky Bell Divine Treasure? Yes. According to the elders of the clan, that was the first stage. Princess Huifeng nodded. Then will there be people who can't even pass the first stage? Qin Feiyang was curious. It is said that the illusion of the first stage is based on the desires in our hearts. So the more one desires, the stronger the desire, the more terrifying the illusion. On the contrary, a person with a pure heart will almost not be affected. But how can people like us not have desires and desires? But even if we don't pass, it doesn't matter, because everyone left their divine souls outside. Princess Huifeng transmitted. We don't. Qin Feiyang thought to himself. As expected. Princess Huifeng was not surprised at all. How could these ruthless people leave a way out for themselves? They usually put all their eggs in one basket. If they didn't succeed, they would die trying. This was also the reason why they were stronger and more responsible than others. And the most important point. If their divine souls were split, their divine souls would be incomplete. If their divine souls were incomplete, they would never have the chance to enter the state of epiphany. For example, Qin Feiyang. If he also left his divine soul outside, then when he entered the first ancient city, he wouldn't have been able to comprehend the supreme mystery of war. This was what it meant to give and take. In the blink of an eye. The moment the illusion was broken, the black flame castle below suddenly rose from the ground and floated in the void in front of them, emitting a shocking aura. Whoosh! Following closely. The golden skeleton inside the demon castle brought the blood-colored skeleton and rushed out of the demon castle in a grandiose manner, surrounding Qin Feiyang and the others. It really is the eye of life and death. I never imagined that there would actually be someone in this world who could fuse the laws of life and death. Along with a loud voice, the young man walked out of the demon castle step by step. He stood in the air above the demon castle and looked at Qin Feiyang with interest. It's him. One of the 10 great demon kings, Black Flame Demon King. Lu Ding thought. His tone was extremely solemn. Qin Feiyang looked at the Black Flame Demon King, and his pupils shrank. He bowed and said, Junior Qin Feiyang greets Senior Demon King. The Black Flame Devil King had not even released his aura, but he could already feel a great sense of danger from him. This was definitely a terrifying existence that could not be easily provoked. He might even be on the same level as the Dragon King, Feng Ho, and the Qilin Master. He's quite polite. However, I can't come to drink tea and chat with you. Go. As soon as the burly young man finished speaking, the surrounding golden skeletons and crimson skeletons immediately activated their power of laws. There were ordinary laws, and there were supreme laws. And without exception, all of them had reached the strength of the supreme laws. Senior, let's talk nicely. Qin Feiyang hurriedly shouted. Princess Huafeng also hurriedly said, Senior, we don't seem to have offended you. Why are you doing this? However, the Black Flame Demon King turned a deaf ear, and there was a hint of playfulness on his face. Don't fight, just break through. Qin Feiyang's eyes darkened, and he transmitted his voice to the 3 sovereign divine weapons, Ice Phoenix Sword and Green Cauldron. Clang! The 4 sovereign divine weapons immediately erupted with a monstrous power. The Black Flame Demon King's gaze immediately swept across the 4 sovereign divine weapons and said with a smile, I advise you not to make a move. Hearing this sentence, the 3 sovereign divine weapons couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. This was an instinctive fear. Just like in the Sky Cloud realm. No matter who it was, as long as they heard the name of Dragon King, they would instinctively feel fear. Qin Feiyang looked at the Black Flame Demon King and transmitted his voice, Ice Phoenix Sword, it's not good to anger him. Return to my body first and wait for my orders. Because so far, he didn't feel any killing intent from the Black Flame Demon King. If there was no killing intent, there might be a turning point. But if the Ice Phoenix Sword were to make a move, this possible turning point would probably never really appear. Okay. The Ice Phoenix Sword responded and disappeared into Qin Feiyang's body. Seeing this, the 3 sovereign divine weapons also retreated to the side. At least you know your place. The Black Flame Demon King's expression eased a lot, and said indifferently, do it. Boom. The golden skeletons and human-shaped skeletons that had been ready for a long time immediately activated their supreme laws, and a terrifying destructive wave instantly flooded all directions. The void, the earth, and the mountains suddenly began to collapse and shatter. Take care of yourself. Qin Feiyang looked at Princess Huafeng and shouted secretly. Without hesitation, he immediately activated his 3,000 clones. One must know. Now he was facing thousands of human-shaped skeletons, and each of them had mastered supreme laws. With such a lineup, if he didn't activate his 3,000 clones, he would only be killed instantly. The Black Flame Demon King looked at the 3,000 clones, and a trace of surprise appeared on his face. This didn't seem to be clones. Boom! As soon as the 3,000 clones appeared, the supreme laws of thunder, destruction, and karma were all activated. Whether it was quantity or quality, they instantly surpassed the surrounding skeletons. What? They can even activate supreme laws? The Black Flame Demon King was shocked. The surrounding human-shaped skeletons were also extremely surprised. Kill! Accompanied by a series of earth-shaking roars, the 9,000 supreme laws evolved by the 3,000 clones immediately flooded the sky and attacked in all directions. Rumble, this was a scene of complete suppression. The supreme laws of the thousands of skeletons were crazily shattered and disintegrated. In just a few breaths, the 9,000 supreme laws crushed through and instantly drowned the thousands of skeletons. Ah! A series of painful screams immediately resounded. In the blink of an eye, the thousands of skeletons were all shattered, and even the souls of the dead were all annihilated. Princess Huifeng stood behind Qin Feiyang and watched this scene, and her heart was in turmoil. One move to kill thousands of human-shaped skeletons. Such terrifying strength was indeed not something that they could compare with. The Black Flame Demon King was also a little dumbfounded. He thought that for Qin Feiyang and Princess Huifeng, this would be a bloody battle with a slim chance of survival. After all, there were thousands of human-shaped skeletons, and each of them had mastered a supreme law. But unexpectedly, in the blink of an eye, they were killed by this kid named Qin Feiyang. Whoosh! The Black Flame Demon King took a deep breath and looked at Qin Feiyang, and said, "You are Qin Feiyang?" "That's right." Qin Feiyang raised his head to look at the Black Flame Demon King and nodded respectfully. The Black Flame Demon King asked, "What is your relationship with Li Feng?" Li Feng. Qin Feiyang's heart trembled. Could it be that Li Feng had really fallen into the hands of the Chaos Royal City? The Black Flame Demon King said, "This king wants to hear the truth." Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered. At this time, if he said that he did not know Li Feng, the Black Flame Demon King would definitely not believe it. After all, the Ice Phoenix sword was with him at this time. However, he did not know the true purpose of the Black Flame Demon King's trip. If he said that he knew Li Feng, would it bring about a fatal disaster? Speak. The Black Flame Demon King's tone became sharper. But Qin Feiyang still did not feel any killing intent from the Black Flame Demon King, which made him very puzzled. If there was killing intent, the Black Flame Demon King's purpose was naturally obvious. He was definitely here to find trouble with them. But there was no killing intent. This made him unable to figure out what the Black Flame Demon King wanted to do. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. Very good. No denial. Then this king will ask you again, how is your relationship? The Black Flame Demon King asked. Our relationship is not bad. Qin Feiyang said truthfully. The Black Flame Demon King said, then you should know the Blood Ancestor. Blood Ancestor. Qin Feiyang's pupils shrank. How was it related to the Blood Ancestor again? Could it be that? The reason why the Chaos Royal City targeted Li Feng was actually because of the Blood Ancestor. The Black Flame Demon King smiled and said, actually, you don't have to be nervous. We have some connections with the Blood Ancestor. Inquiring about his whereabouts is also to catch up with him. I just don't know if he has come to the Sky Bell Divine Treasure this time. Connections? Qin Feiyang and Princess Huifeng looked at each other. It seemed that he was not lying. Because the Black Flame Demon King's smile was very sincere. Qin Feiyang took a deep breath and nodded, this junior does know the Blood Ancestor. How is your relationship? The Black Flame Demon King asked with a smile. Relationship. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and said, the Blood Ancestor, the Human Emperor, and the Feather Emperor are as close as brothers. This junior is the descendant of the Human Emperor and the Feather Emperor. In terms of relationship, it should be quite good. What? You are the descendant of the Feather Emperor? The Black Flame Demon King was surprised. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. The descendant of the Feather Emperor, the Black Flame Demon King looked at Qin Feiyang, and a light flashed in his eyes. He smiled and said, speaking of which, we have some connections with the Feather Emperor. When they entered the Sky Bell Divine Treasure, we even drank together. It can't be. Qin Feiyang was surprised. If that was the case, then their relationship must be quite deep. Since you are the descendant of the Feather Emperor, you are also our guest. Why don't you follow this king to the Chaos Royal City? This king believes that when the Divine King sees the descendant of the Feather Emperor, he should be very happy. The Black Flame Demon King smiled. Looking at the Black Flame Demon King's attitude, Princess Huifeng said in surprise, after all this time, you are not here to find trouble with us. It is indeed a little unexpected. Qin Feiyang nodded. Then, shall we go? Princess Huifeng asked secretly. This, Qin Feiyang was a little hesitant. The Black Flame Demon King did not give Qin Feiyang any extra time to think. He smiled faintly and said, let's go. Maybe the Divine King will be happy and give you some good fortune. If that is the case, Qin Feiyang looked at the three sovereign divine weapons, then at Princess Huifeng, and finally at the Black Flame Demon King. He cupped his hands and smiled. Then this junior will respectfully accept. The Black Flame Demon King smiled faintly. With a wave of his hand, the Black Flame Demon Castle disappeared from his body. He then looked at the three sovereign divine weapons and smiled faintly. The three of you can go together. Yes. The three sovereign divine weapons responded respectfully. Chapter 37:11. Subsequently, Qin Feiyang, Princess Huifeng, and the three sovereign divine weapons followed behind Black Flame Demon King, flying forward like lightning. Black Flame Demon King suddenly asked, how has Feather Emperor been these years? Pretty good. Qin Feiyang nodded. What about Blood Ancestor? Did he enter the Sky Bell Divine Treasure this time? Black Flame Demon King asked again. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. That old guy actually came again. Black Flame Demon King was surprised and frowned. Don't tell me that he hasn't mastered the ultimate meaning of the strongest law yet. This, after leaving the Sky Bell Divine Treasure, many things happened. Not only Feather Emperor, but even Blood Ancestor was greatly injured. So now, this junior is not very clear about Blood Ancestor's strength. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Greatly injured. Black Flame Demon King was surprised and frowned. There shouldn't be many people in the Sky Cloud realm who can hurt them. It's a long story. Qin Feiyang sighed. Black Flame Demon King nodded and smiled. Well, let's wait until we reach the Chaos Royal City. The group disappeared at the end of the world like lightning. Half a month later, a desert entered their sight. In the desert, the wind whistled and yellow sand filled the sky. Boom! Not long after entering the desert, a battle fluctuation suddenly came from the front. Qin Feiyang and Princess Huifeng were surprised. At the same time, Black Flame Demon King, who was walking in front of the two, also had a trace of suspicion on his face. But soon, a glint flashed across his eyes. One of the auras seems to be, after Qin Feiyang carefully identified it, there was a trace of joy in his eyes. Because there was an aura that was exactly the same as Blood Ancestor's. In other words, it was very likely that Blood Ancestor was fighting with someone in front. Senior. Qin Feiyang looked at Black Flame Demon King in front of him. The Black Flame Demon King smiled without turning his head. This king has sensed the aura of the blood ancestor. To be able to meet him on the way, this should be the so-called fate. Qin Feiyang nodded and smiled. Up ahead. An old man in blood-red clothes was being attacked by two middle-aged men. His hair was disheveled and his body was covered in blood. The blood-robed old man was none other than the blood ancestor. As for the two middle-aged men, one was wearing a fiery red robe while the other was wearing a black robe. Their auras were no less powerful than the blood ancestors. Blood ancestor, I didn't expect you to still be alive. But it's a pity that he's about to die in our hands. Now, do you feel indignant? The two of them sneered again and again as a terrifying law surrounded them. One was the law of fire, while the other was the law of darkness. The aura emitted by the two laws completely surpassed the supreme profundities. Truly, when a tiger leaves the plains, it will be bullied by dogs. The blood ancestor roared. The slaughter nomological laws surged like a tide, and his murderous aura soared into the sky. Humph. Do you think it's still the same as before? Now, we don't need Lord Dragon King. We are enough to kill you. The two of them sneered. The darkness nomological laws and the fire nomological laws surged toward the blood ancestor like a tide. The blood ancestor's slaughter nomological laws immediately collapsed in the face of the two laws. Immediately after, the two laws drowned the blood ancestor. You want to kill me? You're not qualified. The blood ancestor was covered in wounds. With a roar, the slaughter nomological laws forcibly tore open a hole. Then, the time nomological laws surged out of the blood ancestor's body. Swish. The next moment, the blood ancestor activated the supreme profundities of the time nomological laws. Instant time rushed out like lightning and fled into the distance. Haha, thinking back, when facing a demon like you, we could only kneel down and beg for mercy. You didn't even look at us. But now, you're being chased by us. Do you feel particularly aggrieved? One of the two middle-aged men also grasped the supreme profundities of the time nomological laws and chased after the blood ancestor crazily. The blood ancestor clenched his fists. That's right. When he was at his peak, these two middle-aged men were like ants in his eyes. He could crush them with one finger. But at this moment, he was being chased by two people who he had once regarded as ants and had fallen into such a sorry state. How could he not feel aggrieved? He was going crazy with hatred. Stop running. No one can save you now. The two of them sneered. That's not necessarily true. But at this moment, a cold voice sounded in front of them. The blood ancestor and the two middle-aged men looked forward almost at the same time. The yellow sand swept across the world with the wind. Clang! The next moment, accompanied by a terrifying sword sound, a young man in white holding the sword of Thanatos rushed out of the yellow sand. Qin Feiyang. The two middle-aged men's expressions changed. The blood ancestor was overjoyed. He hurriedly looked at Qin Feiyang and shouted, "They are the dragon's antiques. Kill them quickly." The dragon's antiques? Qin Feiyang was slightly taken aback. Then, a sneer appeared on his face. He looked past the blood ancestor and looked at the two middle-aged men behind him. Enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road. Let's go. The middle-aged man in black's expression changed. He immediately looked at the middle-aged man in a fiery robe and shouted. The middle-aged man in a fiery robe waved his hand and rolled up the middle-aged man in black. He activated the moment of time and turned around to escape. The blood ancestor stopped and looked at Qin Feiyang. There is a miniature of the law of slaughter in their interspatial ring. Don't let them escape. A miniature of the law of slaughter? Qin Feiyang stared blankly for a moment. With a clang, the Ice Phoenix sword also appeared. The Ice Phoenix sword? Isn't this the sovereign divine weapon of the Foam people? Why is it with Qin Feiyang? Could it be that the Ice Phoenix sword has submitted to Qin Feiyang? The Blood Ancestor and the two middle-aged men were shocked. Clang! The Ice Phoenix sword was a sovereign divine weapon. Its speed was much faster than the moment of time. In the blink of an eye, it landed above the two of them. "Don't," the two of them roared. But it was meaningless. The Ice Phoenix sword emitted a world-destroying sharpness and rushed towards the two of them. Behind. Qin Feiyang also waved the Death God sword. Waves of sword chi flooded the sky, releasing a world-destroying divine power. "Qin Feiyang, you little bastard, we curse you to die a horrible death." The two of them roared. Then, under the painful screams, they were drowned by the sword chi. Their bodies were directly shattered in the void, and their souls were also annihilated. Then, the Ice Phoenix sword flew in front of Qin Feiyang with the two interspatial rings. Under the protection of the Ice Phoenix sword, the two interspatial rings were intact and the blood contract in the interspatial rings was erased. Because the two of them also left their souls outside, even if they were killed, the owners of the interspatial rings would still be them. Qin Feiyang took the two interspatial rings and immediately began to search. Soon, he found a palm-sized iron box. It was shining with divine light and was quite exquisite. When Qin Feiyang opened the iron box, a terrifying murderous intent suddenly rushed out. The world instantly turned into a sea of murderous intent. It really is the epitome of the law of slaughter. Princess Huafeng ran over and stood beside Qin Feiyang. She looked at the blood-colored flame in the iron box with longing in her eyes. Although she did not master the law of slaughter, as long as she had the epitome of the law of slaughter, she could quickly comprehend the law of slaughter and also comprehend the supreme profound meaning in the shortest amount of time. Phew! The Blood Ancestor breathed a sigh of relief and walked to Qin Feiyang's side. He glanced at the epitome of the law of slaughter, then looked at Qin Feiyang and smiled. "I didn't expect to meet you here." "I didn't expect it either." Qin Feiyang closed the iron box and handed it to the Blood Ancestor under Princess Huafeng's eager gaze. The Blood Ancestor looked at Qin Feiyang in a daze. Why was his attitude different from before? After coming back to his senses, the Blood Ancestor looked at the iron box and waved his hand. "I don't need it. You can keep it." "Okay." Qin Feiyang did not stand on ceremony and kept it. "It's better to be polite." The Blood Ancestor was speechless. "With you, there's no need." Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. The Blood Ancestor was stunned. This attitude was really different from before. One had to know. In the past, every time Qin Feiyang saw him in the underworld, he wanted to kill him. "Why are you here?" The Blood Ancestor asked suspiciously, then looked at the Ice Phoenix sword and asked in confusion, "And why is it with you?" The Ice Phoenix sword has already abandoned the dark and joined the light. As for why we are here, Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and turned his head to look behind. His expression was slightly stunned as he looked suspiciously at Princess Huafeng and asked, "Where is that senior?" "Huh?" Princess Huafeng looked behind and shook her head. "I don't know either. Wasn't he still there just now?" "Senior? What senior?" The Blood Ancestor was suspicious. "This king." Accompanied by a burst of laughter, the Black Flame Demon King had silently appeared above their heads without them noticing. This voice, the Blood Ancestor's gaze trembled as he slowly raised his head. When he saw the Black Flame Demon King, his expression suddenly changed. He immediately looked at the Ice Phoenix sword and the Death God sword and shouted, "Run! Run!" The Ice Phoenix sword and the Death God sword were stunned. Qin Feiyang and Princess Huafeng were also surprised. Why was this different from what they had expected? When old friends meet, shouldn't they greet each other cordially? Wait. Where are the green cauldron, the ancient pagoda, and the golden bell? Qin Feiyang glanced around and looked at the black flame demon king, but he didn't see the 3 sovereign divine weapons. Left without saying goodbye? No. They couldn't have left without saying goodbye. Hurry. The blood ancestor urged anxiously. But before his voice fell, a terrifying force of death emerged, and a barrier instantly enveloped Qin Feiyang and the others. The owner of this barrier was the Black Flame Demon King. What a strong force of death! Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. This force of death was stronger than the law of death she had seen outside, and it was stronger by more than a little. The moment this barrier appeared, it was as if the world had turned into hell. Senior, what are you doing? Princess Huifeng was surprised. No matter what he said to you before, I can tell you responsibly that he is lying to you. The blood ancestor looked gloomily at the Black Flame Demon King and said in a deep voice. Chapter 37:12. Lie. Princess Huifeng's face turned pale. Qin Feiyang's eyes also sank. Whether it was for public or private reasons, the blood ancestor would not lie. But even now, he did not feel the slightest killing intent from the Black Flame Demon King. He believed the Black Flame Demon King's words based on this basis. Because if the Black Flame Demon King really had other intentions, then his heart would definitely be filled with killing intent. However, he never thought that his judgment would be wrong. This also reflected that the Black Flame Demon King was an extremely terrifying and shrewd person. Break out. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. Clang. Not only the sword of Thanatos, but also the Ice Phoenix sword and the ancient castle also rushed out from Qin Feiyang's body and jointly bombarded the enchantment formed by the power of death. With a loud bang, the enchantment shattered on the spot. After all, it was 3 sovereign divine weapons. With just one enchantment, it was impossible to stop them. Do you really want to make a move? The Black Flame Demon King waved his hand again, and a destructive force emerged. An enchantment appeared again, trapping Qin Feiyang and others inside. Law of destruction. Qin Feiyang was shocked. Whether it was the law of death or the law of destruction, they were both above the supreme profound meaning. In other words, this person had grasped at least 2 ultimate profundities of supreme laws. Don't fight, we are not his opponent. Because he still has the demon castle. The blood ancestor roared. Hearing the blood ancestor's words, Qin Feiyang and Princess Huifeng's hearts suddenly sank to the bottom. Even the blood ancestor said so. How strong was this person? If you let me make a move, the consequences will be quite serious. The Black Flame Demon King laughed, still without the slightest selfishness. It was as if in his eyes, this was an easy and pleasant game, and Qin Feiyang and others were not even qualified to make him want to kill them. What are you being arrogant for? Eat my sword. But at this time, accompanied by a roar, a black-clothed youth descended from the sky, holding a red sword, and attacked the Black Flame Demon King like lightning. Caught off guard, the Black Flame Demon King's head split open on the spot, and blood gushed out. But at this moment, the demonic castle rushed out and attacked the Crimson Sword. So strong. Madman spat out a mouthful of blood as he and his red sword flew out like a meteor. Senior brother. At the same time, Qin Feiyang was overjoyed. He looked at the 3 sovereigns' divine weapons and shouted, "Take this chance to break out." That was right. The person who came was Madman. The Crimson Longsword was the sovereign divine weapon of the Devil Palace. The 3 sovereign divine weapons attacked and shattered the barrier. Immediately, they took Qin Feiyang and the others away without looking back. After seeing how powerful the demon castle was, the mad scientist and the red sword didn't dare to continue fighting. The red sword stabilized its body and immediately swept up Madman, chasing after Qin Feiyang and the others. You're all courting death. Although the Black Flame Devil King's head had been split open, it didn't seem to have much of an effect on him. It also didn't seem to have damaged his divine soul. Clang! A monstrous demonic aura erupted from the demon castle as it chased after Qin Feiyang's group with the Black Flame Demon King. Killing intent. Qin Feiyang turned to look at the Black Flame Demon King. At this moment, he felt an unprecedented killing intent from the Black Flame Demon King. Finally no longer hiding. Wait! Suddenly. He looked at the demon castle and his expression changed. So fast. The speed of the demon castle was far faster than the sword of death. After the mad scientist and Qin Feiyang met up, he raised his eyebrows and said, "Old Qin, what's going on? How did you provoke such a terrifying existence?" "It's a long story." Qin Feiyang sighed and asked, "Why are you here?" The mad scientist said, "When I was outside the desert, I heard the battle here, so I came to take a look out of curiosity. I didn't expect to meet you guys." "Then you really came at the right time." Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. He didn't come earlier, but he came at this time. Although he did help them solve their urgent situation, he also dragged the mad scientist himself into the water. Because in the current situation, they couldn't escape at all. The Blood Ancestor said in a deep voice, "Now is not the time to reminisce. Quickly think of a way to get rid of them, otherwise they will catch up sooner or later." "Get rid of them?" Qin Feiyang turned to look at the demon castle and the Black Flame Demon King. The distance between them had been shortened by half. He sighed and said, "Do you think it's possible to get rid of them?" Sigh. "I was careless. If I had told you about the grudge between us and the Divine King of Primal Chaos, you wouldn't have been deceived by them." The Blood Ancestor sighed. "Us?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. "That's right. The grudge between me and the Feather Emperor and the Divine King of Primal Chaos." The Blood Ancestor nodded. "What grudge?" Qin Feiyang, the mad scientist, and Princess Huifeng were surprised. Even the dragons, the Foam people, and the Kirin clan don't know about these grudges. The Blood Ancestor shook his head and looked at the demon castle and the Black Flame Demon King, who were getting closer and closer. He said in a deep voice, "Let's talk about it after we are out of danger." The mad scientist pondered for a while and looked at Princess Huifeng. He asked, "How many rulers' weapons do you have?" "2. Princess Huifeng said. "You have 2, and we have 4 with the Ice Phoenix sword. A total of 6 rulers' weapons. Maybe we have the strength to fight." The mad scientist looked at Qin Feiyang and the Blood Ancestor with a fierce glint in his eyes. The Blood Ancestor was silent. "If the Green Cauldron, the Golden Bell, and the Ancient Tower were here, we would have a better chance, but where are they now?" Qin Feiyang frowned. "We can't take the risk." The Blood Ancestor shook his head and said in a deep voice, "Back then, the Feather Emperor and I together with 5 rulers' weapons couldn't beat this person. 6 rulers' weapons might not be enough." "What? The 2 of you together with 5 rulers' weapons couldn't win?" The 3 of them looked at each other. How heaven-defying was this person? Although the Feather Emperor and I didn't master the most powerful laws at that time, and it's about the same as it is now, we can't underestimate this person's strength. I don't want to take the risk without full confidence." The Blood Ancestor shook his head. "But now, we have no other choice." Qin Feiyang and the mad scientist looked at each other and sighed. The Blood Ancestor frowned. Clang! But suddenly, a series of earth-shattering sounds came from behind them. Qin Feiyang and the others turned around and saw that the speed of the castle had greatly decreased. The loud sounds came from inside the castle. Boom! 3 terrifying auras suddenly rushed out of the castle. "It's the Green Cauldron, the Ancient Tower, and the Golden Bell," Princess Huifeng exclaimed. So they were inside the castle. It seems that the Black Flame Demon King sent them to the castle when they weren't paying attention. At this moment, they are resisting. No. To be precise, they are helping us. Because they are resisting, the castle naturally has to suppress them. Qin Feiyang said solemnly. Then what are we waiting for? Take the opportunity to get rid of them. The Blood Ancestor looked at the Ice Phoenix sword and shouted. The Ice Phoenix sword's speed reached the extreme and disappeared from the Black Flame Demon King's sight. Damn it! Watching Qin Feiyang's group slip away right under their noses, the Black Flame Devil King was enraged to the extreme. He looked at the Devil Castle and shouted, "Release them!" Boom! As the power suppressing the three sovereign divine weapons loosened, three divine lights rushed out of the castle. They were the Ancient Tower, the Green Cauldron, and the Golden Bell. As soon as they came out, they immediately fled. You want to leave? Killing intent surged in the Black Flame Demon King's eyes, and the power of death and destruction rolled out. He threw a punch at the ancient pagoda, and with a loud clang, a crack appeared on the ancient pagoda. At the same time, the power of the castle erupted and blasted toward the Green Cauldron and the Golden Bell. Clang! The two sovereign divine weapons shattered on the spot. This was the true strength of the Black Flame Demon King and the castle. They could completely suppress the sovereign divine weapons. How dare you offend this king? The Black Flame Demon King stared at the three sovereign divine weapons, his dark eyes flashing with a bone-chilling light. Lord Demon King, we are sorry. But Qin Feiyang saved our lives. We can't just stand by and watch him die. We are willing to accept the punishment. The three sovereign divine weapons floated in the void, trembling. Punishment? The Black Flame Demon King smiled sinisterly as his fist, which seemed to be made of divine iron, smashed towards the ancient pagoda. But suddenly, he withdrew his hand and lowered his head to ponder. What's wrong? The castle was puzzled. I have thought of an even more fun game. The Black Flame Demon King chuckled as the killing intent in his eyes dissipated and was replaced by a hint of playfulness. He then raised his head and looked in the direction where Qin Feiyang and the others had fled. He said indifferently, Qin Feiyang, if you want to save the three divine weapons of the Green Cauldron, come and find me personally. His voice wasn't very loud, but it could be heard hundreds of millions of miles away. In the distance. In the sky above a mountain. When Qin Feiyang heard the voice of the Black Flame Demon King, he immediately stopped and turned to look in the direction of the Black Flame Demon King. Don't be rash. The Blood Ancestor saw that the situation was not good and hurriedly advised. If you go back now, not only will the Green Cauldron and the others be finished, but you will also be finished. Besides, we don't know if there are other demon kings on the way. Most importantly, we don't even know how strong they are. I agree. If other demon kings are on the way and their strength is beyond imagination, then we will not be able to escape. As for the Green Cauldron and the others, right now, they are the bargaining chips in the hands of the Black Flame Demon King. As long as we don't look for the Black Flame Demon King, he won't really destroy them. When we are fully prepared, we will go and rescue them. The Ice Phoenix Sword and the Death God Sword also spoke one after another. Don't worry, I know where their lair is. As long as I am confident, I will take you there immediately. The Blood Ancestor said again. Madman and Princess Huifeng heard this and nodded in agreement. Whoosh! Qin Feiyang took a deep breath and looked in the direction of the Black Flame Demon King. He roared, okay, just you wait, I will come to find you sooner or later. Finished. He turned to look at the Ice Phoenix Sword and said in a deep voice, let's go. Shwa. The Ice Phoenix Sword took the four and quickly disappeared. It seems that he is also a person who is afraid of death. The Black Flame Demon King smiled disdainfully and retracted his gaze. He looked at the three sovereign divine weapons and joked, do you think he will really come to save you? The three sovereign divine weapons were silent. This king is looking forward to it. The Black Flame Demon King smiled and let the demon castle suppress the three sovereign divine weapons. Then, he turned around and disappeared without looking back. Chapter 37:13. Half a day passed. Qin Feiyang and the others entered a valley. The valley was surrounded by mountains and was occupied by a blood-colored human skeleton. There were also many skeletons under its command. Qin Feiyang and the other three swiftly took care of them. Then, they dug out a hidden cave in a corner of the valley. Then, the four of them retracted their auras and hid in the cave. Madman swallowed a life divine pill and shook his head. This time, we really escaped from death. Blood Demon and Princess Huafeng nodded in agreement. The Sword of Thanatos and Ice Phoenix Sword had also returned to Qin Feiyang's body. On the other hand, Qin Feiyang stood at the side with his back against the wall. He was silent and his face was gloomy. Don't worry, the heavens help the worthy. Madman went forward and patted Qin Feiyang's shoulder to comfort him. He then asked curiously, but speaking of which, how did you know these three sovereign divine weapons? It's a long story. Qin Feiyang sighed deeply and told him what happened between Lu Ding and the Feather Emperor back then, as well as what happened during this period of time. Including Li Feng's situation. So that's how it is. Madman suddenly understood. What did you say? Li Feng might have fallen into the hands of the Chaos Royal City? Blood Ancestor suddenly stood up and looked at Qin Feiyang. I'm not sure yet, but it should be close. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Damn it. I should have warned him in advance not to be too flamboyant. Blood Ancestor was extremely angry. What the hell is going on? What grudge do you have with the Feather Emperor and the Divine King of Chaos? Qin Feiyang frowned. Sigh. Blood Ancestor was silent for a while and sighed. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, Do you know my identity? I know. The Ice Phoenix Sword has already told me. Qin Feiyang nodded. What is his identity? Madman was curious. He was one of the three leaders of the Sky Cloud realm. He is as close as brothers with the Human Emperor and the Feather Emperor. Qin Feiyang then explained the situation of the Blood Ancestor, the death of the Human Emperor, and the identity of the Purple Gold Divine Dragon. What? Madman was shocked. The Purple Gold Divine Dragon came from the Divine Kingdom? And she was the princess of the Divine Kingdom? No wonder the Dragon King, Feng Ho, and the Qilin Master wanted Qin Feiyang to make a decision and promise in advance. Since you already know, I won't hide it anymore. That's right. I am the Blood Ancestor that the Ice Phoenix Sword spoke of. The Blood Ancestor nodded. Qin Feiyang asked suspiciously, Then why are you in the ancient realm? The Blood Ancestor recalled for a moment and sighed. During the battle with the Divine Kingdom, the Feather Emperor, the Human Emperor, and I were all seriously injured. We were happy to have chased away the Divine Kingdom and were about to celebrate. However, we didn't expect that Feng Ho, the Dragon King, and the Kirin Master would suddenly attack us. Speaking of which, the Blood Ancestor looked at Princess Huafeng with crimson light in his eyes. Princess Huafeng shrunk her neck and immediately hid behind Qin Feiyang and Madman. She carefully looked at Blood Ancestor and said, Every injustice has its perpetrator and every debt has its debtor. If you want to hate someone, then hate them. Do not hate me. When the Blood Ancestor heard this, he looked at Princess Huafeng in a daze and shook his head. You really are an interesting little girl. Princess Huafeng smiled. The Blood Ancestor looked at Qin Feiyang and the Madman and continued, When the battle just ended, we never imagined that they would plot against us behind our backs. At that time, the Human Emperor fell, and the Feather Emperor and I were both heavily injured. The hatred on the Blood Ancestor's face and the resentment in his heart were extremely strong. Back then, If he hadn't fought with the human emperor and the feather emperor, how could they have chased away the divine kingdom? Although the Phoenix Empress, the Dragon King, and the Qilin Master had contributed greatly, shouldn't they at least do it openly if they wanted to target them? Sneak attack. How could the masters of the three great forbidden areas have the face to do such a thing? What happened later? Madman asked curiously. Later. The Feather Emperor and I took the Human Emperor's heir and escaped to Hell. The Human Emperor's heir is the current ancestor of the Qin clan, Qin Batian. The blood ancestor looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "I already know about this." Qin Feiyang nodded. "You know about this too?" The blood ancestor was surprised. "I've already talked to the Feather Emperor." Qin Feiyang said. "I see. Okay, then I'll be direct. Why am I in the ancient realm?" Back then, after sending Qin Batian to Great Qin, we accidentally discovered that there was another world in the divine ruins. This world is the ancient realm that you are familiar with. At first, we thought that it might be a world stronger than the Sky Cloud realm, so we entered the ancient realm to explore. But when we entered the ancient realm, we discovered that it was just a backward civilization. Such a world couldn't arouse our interest at all. However, just as we were about to leave, we discovered that there was also a dragon in the ancient realm. At that time, the Feather Emperor was worried about Qin Batian, so he left the ancient realm first. As for me, I stayed in the ancient realm to investigate the dragons. The blood ancestor slowly explained. Qin Feiyang asked, "So you also know about the existence of the ice dragon?" "Of course. Moreover, I have a blood feud with the ice dragon." The blood ancestor snorted coldly. "Blood feud?" Qin Feiyang and Madman looked at each other. "That's right. I investigated the dragons in the ancient realm while reconstructing my body and soul. Later, according to my investigation, the dragons of the ancient realm and the dragons of the Sky Cloud realm had nothing to do with each other. So, I boldly continued to stay in the ancient realm and treated it as a game. Later, one day, because the dragons of the ancient realm had never been on good terms with our human race, a war broke out. At that time, I had nothing to do, so I wanted to help the human race. Because of the dragons of the Sky Cloud realm, I had always been quite disgusted with the dragons of the ancient realm, but I didn't expect to attract the ice dragon. At first, I didn't take him seriously. After all, with my strength, why would I be afraid of a backward civilization? But when the ice dragon attacked, I realized how wrong I was. The blood ancestor sighed. Hearing this, Qin Feiyang and Madman couldn't help but laugh and ask, "So you were seriously injured by the ice dragon again?" They really admired the blood ancestor's courage. He actually dared to challenge the ice dragon. "That's right." The blood ancestor smiled bitterly and said, "Not only was I seriously injured, but I was also sealed by him. As long as I'm in the ancient realm, I'll never be able to reconstruct a complete body in divine soul." "I see." Qin Feiyang suddenly understood. He was wondering why the blood ancestor had always been in the form of a remnant soul in the ancient realm. It turned out that the ice dragon had sealed him. "There's something you don't know. At that time, the ice dragon hadn't married Long Zun yet." The blood ancestor said. "What? They haven't married yet? In that case, wasn't the battle back then something that happened a very long time ago?" Qin Feiyang was surprised. "That's right. At that time, Long Zun was only a princess of the dragons, but she was indeed a beauty. And your master, Yi Zhong, was still young and frivolous at that time. As for the ice dragon, after sealing me, he actually told me that he was only here to play. I'm very puzzled. Why am I so unlucky to meet such a ruthless person?" The blood ancestor was extremely annoyed. Qin Feiyang asked, "So it was at that time that the ice dragon and Long Zun met?" "Yes. Later, I don't know what happened, but the two of them actually got together, got married, and had a child." But according to my personal guess, it should be Long Zun who seduced the ice dragon. The blood ancestor chuckled. He suddenly became a little old and frivolous. What do you mean? Qin Feiyang and the mad scientist were curious. They seemed to have smelled the scent of gossip. Look, the ice dragon displayed such powerful strength. Long Zun must have some thoughts in her heart. Let me tell you, although Yi Zhong is so infatuated with Long Zun, this Long Zun is really not a good woman. She's very scheming. The blood ancestor said. I've known this for a long time. During those years in the ancient realm, didn't she always take advantage of Master's feelings for her? Qin Feiyang snorted coldly. So, I deduced that Long Zun saw the powerful strength of the ice dragon and wanted to climb up this mountain, so she used a honey trap to get married. The blood ancestor chuckled. Ah! Qin Feiyang was stunned. The mad scientist also looked at the blood ancestor strangely. What's wrong? The blood ancestor was puzzled. The mad scientist frowned and said, Why do I suddenly feel that you are like a wretched little old man? Go away. How can you talk to your elders like that? The blood ancestor angrily rebuked. Hey! The mad scientist bared his teeth and said, According to what you said, this Long Zun is really a terrifying woman. Otherwise, how do you think such a backward civilization like the ancient realm would have a relationship with the ice dragon? The blood ancestor disdained. That's true. The mad scientist nodded. Qin Feiyang smiled, looked at the blood ancestor, and said, After hearing your words, I've finally solved a mystery in my heart. What mystery? The blood ancestor was puzzled. It turns out that I have been very confused. Why would such a powerful existence like the ice dragon place his wife and child in the ancient realm? I used to think that there was another reason. Now I know that the dragons of the ancient realm have always existed, and it has nothing to do with the dragons of the sky cloud realm. The dragons of the ancient realm are simply a race of another world. The ice dragon is just playing in the human world and accidentally met Long Zun in the ancient realm. The ancient realm is Long Zun's hometown, so she and the siblings Long Chen didn't leave the ancient realm. After all, no one wants to leave their hometown. Qin Feiyang smiled. The blood ancestor said, You are a typical example of making a very simple question complicated. Isn't that because I didn't know the past of Long Zun and the ice dragon? Qin Feiyang was helpless. The mad scientist bared his teeth and said, But then again, the ice dragon is really magnanimous. He actually allowed Long Zun to keep Yi Zhong, a love rival, by her side. The ice dragon is confident. With his terrifying strength, how could the ice dragon dare to do anything to hurt him? Let's talk about it later. Do you think that the ice dragon really has feelings for Yi Zhong? That's just Yi Zhong's own wishful thinking. Not to mention other things, just Yi Zhong's identity as a human means that the ice dragon can't really be with him. Do you think that everyone is the princess of the divine kingdom and the human emperor? The blood ancestor despised. Chapter 37:14. Master is really pitiful. Qin Feiyang sighed. He's not pitiful. He asked for it. He fell in love with a woman he shouldn't have. The blood ancestor shook his head. Let's not talk about Master. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, looked at the blood ancestor, and asked, So, after being sealed by the ice dragon, you have been in the ancient realm? Yes. The blood ancestor nodded. Then why didn't you leave the ancient realm earlier? Qin Feiyang asked. I did have plans to leave the ancient realm immediately. But at this time, Qin Batian came to the ancient realm, so I temporarily stayed in the ancient realm. The blood ancestor said. I see. Qin Feiyang suddenly understood and asked suspiciously, Then why didn't you directly show your identity to the ancestor? The time wasn't right. The blood ancestor shook his head. What's the grudge between you and the beast emperor? Why was the Beast Emperor gnashing his teeth when he saw you? Qin Feiyang was curious. Him. The blood ancestor smiled faintly and said, when he was very young, I bullied him. Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. Looking at the Beast Emperor's hatred for the blood ancestor, it shouldn't be as simple as bullying. The blood ancestor said faintly, it must have been very painful at that time. That's why he hates me so much. Ah. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Sure enough, it wasn't that simple. You have to know that for someone like me, even a divine dragon like the Dragon Emperor, without the protection of the Ice Dragon, is as simple as crushing an ant, let alone a beast. I can let him live, and he is already grateful to me. The blood ancestor said proudly. Qin Feiyang was speechless. Wasn't this the logic of a bandit? I snatched something from you, and you still have to thank me. Let's not talk about the Beast Emperor. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and looked at the blood ancestor. Then, why did you take a fancy to Li Feng? And you even brought him to the Sky Cloud realm? He's so pitiful. The blood ancestor said straightforwardly. That's it? Qin Feiyang was stunned. What else? Of course, there's also his hatred for dragons. Said the blood ancestor. What about Long Qianyu? Why does he also have your aura? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. The blood ancestor hesitated for a moment before saying angrily, why do you have so many questions? Shouldn't you be more concerned about the feud between me and the Divine King of Chaos? Qin Feiyang and Madman looked at each other. Since he didn't answer the question directly, it seemed like there was something else going on. The blood ancestor waved his hand. I've already told you why I'm in the ancient realm, so let's stop here. All right. Then tell me about your feud with the Divine King of Chaos. Qin Feiyang nodded. If the blood ancestor didn't want to talk, there was nothing he could do. However, regarding Long Qianyu, he had to be careful. Me and the Divine King of Chaos, the blood ancestor pondered for a moment before shaking his head. I'll have to start from the last time I came to the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. At that time, Feather Emperor and I traveled together in the Sky Bell Divine Treasure and accidentally learned about the existence of the Divine King of Chaos from some human-shaped skeletons. Speaking of this, the blood ancestor seemed to have thought of something exciting and couldn't help but look excited. Qin Feiyang, Madman, and Princess Wufeng all pricked up their ears and waited for him to continue. At that time, we thought that since the Divine King of Chaos was so strong, he must have a lot of treasures. Feather Emperor and I were also bold back then. We searched everywhere for the whereabouts of the Divine King of Chaos and finally found him. However, the Divine King of Chaos is indeed strong. We didn't even meet him officially, but we felt a sense of danger from him. Later, we discussed and decided not to fight him head-on. So, we hid near the Divine King of Chaos's nest and slowly waited for an opportunity. Finally, one day, we found an opportunity. The Divine King of Chaos left the nest with the Chaos Royal City and the 9 Demon Kings, leaving only the Black Flame Demon King to guard it. Seeing this situation, the two of us decisively took action and infiltrated the Divine King of Chaos's nest. In the end, we found a secret technique in his nest. We wanted to continue, but we were discovered by the Black Flame Demon King. Originally, we wanted to kill the Black Flame Demon King and wipe out the Divine King of Chaos's nest, but the Black Flame Demon King's strength was beyond our imagination. At that time, if it weren't for Little Rabbit and the others who happened to pass by and helped us, Feather Emperor and I would have turned into a pile of dirt. The blood ancestor sighed. You're that bold? Princess Wufeng was shocked. SOSO. It's passable. The blood ancestor smiled proudly. No wonder the Black Flame Demon King was looking for you. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled bitterly. Then what secret technique did you find? It's a secret technique that can devour the souls of the dead. At that time, Feather Emperor saw that this secret technique was too fierce, so he took the initiative to give it to me. The Blood Ancestor said. I see. It seems that the Black Flame Demon King was looking for you to snatch back this secret technique. Qin Feiyang nodded in realization. Wrong. They wanted to kill me. After all, we almost destroyed their nest. Although this time, I let Li Feng enter the Sky Bell Divine Treasure to make him grow quickly with the help of the souls of the dead, I didn't expect the Divine King of Chaos and the others to be so vengeful. The Blood Ancestor shook his head. Nonsense. You almost destroyed their nest. How can they not be vengeful? Qin Feiyang was speechless. Why are you yelling at me? Back then, this was the idea of your ancestor, Feather Emperor. I was purely instigated by him. The Blood Ancestor said angrily. Instigated? Qin Feiyang looked at him in disdain. He couldn't do anything else, but he was quite good at shirking responsibility. Hold on. Back then, Ice Dragon only sealed you. Now that you have left the ancient world, the seal should have been removed, but why is your strength so weak? Madman sized up the Blood Ancestor suspiciously. Am I weak? Do you know how strong the ultimate intent of the slaughter law is? The Blood Ancestor sneered. I don't know. But this daddy knows that you were chased by those two old fogies, the dragons. Madman laughed. Say that again. The Blood Ancestor's eyes flashed fiercely. Madman's pupils shrank as he gritted his teeth. It's the truth. Don't dislike it. The Blood Ancestor glared at him fiercely and muttered, my strength, how should I put it? Think of it this way. I encountered an accident during my cultivation, but soon, my strength will recover and I will be even stronger than when I was at my peak. Really? Qin Feiyang and Madman were surprised. Of course. If you don't believe me, you can ask Feather Emperor. He knows about my situation. The Blood Ancestor said. All right then. Madman nodded. Princess Hufeng asked, then, how are we going to save Li Feng and Lu Ding now? Hearing this question, not only the Blood Ancestor, but even Qin Feiyang and Madman fell silent. We definitely can't fight them head-on. Although the Blood Ancestor knows where their nest is, with our strength, even if we sneak there, we won't be able to do anything against the Divine King of Chaos, the Royal City of Chaos and the 10 Demon Kings. Princess Hufeng sighed. I have an idea. Qin Feiyang's eyes suddenly lit up. What idea? The three of them looked at him suspiciously. Join forces with the Feng people, the dragons, the Kirins, the land of buried gods, and the divine beasts and sea beasts of the heavenly cloud ocean. I don't believe that we can't beat them with the combined strength of all forces. Qin Feiyang said. The Blood Ancestor and Madman looked at each other. This was a good idea. However, the divine beasts and sea beasts of the land of buried gods and the heavenly cloud ocean could be ignored. After all, they were allies and it wasn't difficult to convince them. But why would the Feng people, the dragons, and the Kirins help them? One had to know. They were sworn enemies with the three races. After learning about this, the three races were overjoyed, so why would they take the risk to cooperate with them? I know your concerns. I have an idea. Qin Feiyang smiled confidently. The Blood Ancestor pondered for a while and nodded. If there is really a way, we can give it a try. After all, I can't think of a better way. Madman said. Then it's decided. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he looked at the Blood Ancestor and said, I saw that you activated momentary time before, so you should be able to set up a time array. Why? You still want to cultivate here? You have to know that we've only been here for 1,000 years. If more than 10 years have already passed, the Blood Ancestor frowned. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and the Gold Sun Divine Sword and the Silver Moon Divine Sword appeared. He said, when I subdued them, I accidentally injured them, so I need a time array to repair their bodies. This way, when I face danger in the future, they won't only be able to watch from the side. You call that being careless? It was clearly intentional, okay? The two great swords were indignant. Shut up. Qin Feiyang glared at them. All right then. We can all recuperate here for a while. The blood ancestor glanced at the two sovereign divine weapons and waved his hand. A time array appeared and merged with the cave abode. What level of time array is this? Madman was curious. 1,000 years in a day. If you want something more powerful, you can only find someone else. The blood ancestor said. Enough, enough. Hurry up and repair your bodies. Qin Feiyang nodded and looked at the two great swords. This was already beyond his expectations. Originally, he had only hoped for a 1,500-year time array. It was so comfortable to have a time array. The blood ancestor and madman's injuries quickly healed. Qin Feiyang also quickly comprehended the first level of the law of life and death. When madman saw the law of life and death, he was also puzzled like Princess Wufeng. But when they learned the origin of the law of life and death from the blood ancestor, they couldn't help but be envious. As for the blood ancestor, when he learned that Qin Feiyang had a miniature version of the law of life and death, he was also extremely shocked. On this day, Qin Feiyang pondered for a while, then turned to look at Madman and said, "Senior brother, there's something I still feel that I shouldn't hide from you." "What is it?" Madman looked at him suspiciously. "It's about the mystery of your background." Qin Feiyang said. "What?" Madman's eyes trembled. Chapter 37:15. Qin Feiyang told Madman what Ice Phoenix Sword said about the Blood Demon King. "Blood Demon King, Blood Demon Race," Madman murmured. After digesting this information, he asked, "So you suspect that I am a descendant of the Blood Demon race?" "No." Qin Feiyang shook his head and pondered for a while. "We suspect that you are the reincarnation of the Blood Demon King." "Reincarnation?" Madman was stunned. "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded. "Why don't you say that I am the reincarnation of the God of creation?" Madman rolled his eyes. Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly and shook his head. "I am not joking with you. The reason why we suspect so is because we have a basis." "What basis?" Madman frowned. "Blood Demon Tower. There is also the evil moon, evil sun, and the Yin demon power in the Yin demon land. Look, back in Fallen Valley, the Blood Demon Tower directly left King Yu's father and turned to you. You have to know. The Blood Demon Tower is the Blood Demon King's sovereign weapon. Is there no reason why it took the initiative to stay by your side?" Qin Feiyang said. Madman fell silent. "And your transformation ability is exactly the same as the Blood Demon race. Moreover, you and the Blood Demon race don't need it. The other Blood Demons find it extremely difficult to absorb the evil power of Fallen Valley. For example, King Yu, as the current king of the Blood Demon race, even he can't absorb the evil power of Fallen Valley, but you can. And you, not only can you absorb the evil power of Fallen Valley, but you can also absorb the Yin demon power in the Yin demon land. And back then, when you approached the evil moon, a strange scene appeared in your mind. Isn't this the evil moon awakening the memories of your previous life?" Qin Feiyang said again. Madman remained silent. "This is my initial guess. The scene that appeared in your mind should be the scene of the Blood Demon King fighting with the powerhouse of the Divine Kingdom in Hell. In other words, the Blood Demon King might have fallen in that battle." Qin Feiyang said. The madman pondered for a moment, then looked up at Qin Feiyang and said, "It sounds so logical. Am I really the reincarnation of the Blood Demon King? We can't rule out this possibility. Furthermore, Dragon King, Feng Ho, the master of the Qilin, and the golden dragon spear are all sovereign-level divine weapons. They've long since noticed that you're related to the Blood Demon King. Qin Feiyang said. Who? Madman took a deep breath and chuckled. Then if I really am the reincarnation of the Blood Demon King, wouldn't you have to call me ancestor? Scram! What's the point of taking advantage of me? Qin Feiyang's face darkened. Hee hee. If that's the case, then I'll definitely protect you and the white-eyed wolf from now on. The madman patted Qin Feiyang's shoulder and gritted his teeth. Qin Feiyang shook his head helplessly. Suddenly, he glanced at Princess Huafeng and transmitted his voice, "You have to help me keep the white-eyed wolf's matter a secret. I'll tell this woman that the white-eyed wolf has met with an accident and died outside." What? The madman was stunned. He glanced at Princess Huafeng and secretly said, "Aren't you afraid that the white-eyed wolf will find trouble with you?" "I'm just trying to provoke her." Qin Feiyang secretly laughed. "How's the effect?" The madman was curious. "Not bad." Qin Feiyang secretly said. "It seems that she has fallen in love with him. The white-eyed wolf's marriage is finally settled." The madman gritted his teeth. "Yes. Now, only Fire Lotus is left. I really don't know who in this world is worthy of this girl." Qin Feiyang sighed. "Women shouldn't be worried, right? Moreover, Fire Lotus is a reasonable, smart, and capable woman." The madman said. "Fire Lotus is outstanding, but we have to help her keep a check. We can't just find a random man to make do with. No matter what, her character has to be good. We can't let Fire Lotus be wronged." Qin Feiyang said. "You're still worried about this? With us standing behind her, who dares to let her be wronged?" The madman smiled proudly. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. He transmitted his voice, "We'll talk about this later." After that, Qin Feiyang took out an iron box and smiled, "This is the epitome of the slaughter law. I'll give it to you." "Why are you giving it to me?" "I already have it." The madman waved his hand. "Right, I forgot that you've already obtained the epitome of the slaughter law." Qin Feiyang patted his head. Qin Feiyang and the madman didn't transmit their words. When Princess Huafeng heard this, she immediately looked at the madman with shock in her eyes. This little madman actually obtained an epitome of the slaughter law. "What are you looking at? Our talent is something you can only look up to." The madman looked at Princess Huafeng proudly. "Shameless." Princess Huafeng coldly snorted. Then, she lowered her head with a trace of sadness on her face. If he was still alive, he should also be this outstanding. That's it? The madman was surprised. He thought that Princess Huafeng would have a good quarrel with him. After all, this was the personality of the Princess Huafeng. He didn't expect her to remain silent. She must have thought of the white-eyed wolf. Qin Feiyang secretly laughed. Madman looked at Princess Huafeng's expression and thought, since we have already tested her sincerity, shouldn't we tell her that the white-eyed wolf is still alive? Don't worry. Isn't there a saying of suppressing first and then revealing later? We will let her slowly grieve by herself. When this emotion accumulates to a certain extent, when she suddenly sees that the white-eyed wolf is still alive, it will definitely erupt. At that time, the feelings in her heart will naturally be revealed uncontrollably. Qin Feiyang said. I didn't expect you to be so insidious." The madman laughed sinisterly. "We are brothers with the white-eyed wolf. Of course, we have to add fuel to the fire. Otherwise, with just the two of them, they can't hope to break through this layer of window paper." Qin Feiyang shook his head. "Makes sense." The madman nodded and looked at the iron box. "Don't you also control the slaughter law? You can keep it for yourself." "I don't need it." Qin Feiyang waved his hand and put away the iron box. "Why don't you need it?" The madman was suspicious. The battle word art and the life and death law both have a law miniature. Therefore, I guess that the other 3 divine arts of the 6-word divine art should also have a law miniature. Qin Feiyang transmitted his voice. Is that so? The madman nodded and said enviously, your luck is too good. The law miniature actually came together. It's okay, it's okay. Qin Feiyang secretly laughed. Look at how proud you are. The madman looked at him in disdain, say, if I am really the reincarnation of the Blood Demon King, then when I died in my previous life, did I leave any inheritance in hell? How would I know? Besides, whether you are the reincarnation of the Blood Demon King or not, we still have to investigate. Qin Feiyang said. Alright, work hard to become stronger first. We will talk about it after we leave the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. I don't need the Law of Slaughter's miniature, but if you encounter the Law of Space, Death, Destruction, Thunder, Light, or Darkness, you must help me get it. The madman secretly said. No problem. Qin Feiyang nodded. In the blink of an eye. Outside, 5 years had passed. And inside the time array, more than 1.8 million years had passed. The Silver Moon Divine Sword and Gold Sun Divine Sword were finally restored. On this day, Qin Feiyang also comprehended the 5th profound of the Law of Life and Death. The power of life and death emerged and condensed into a palm-sized black and white seal. One side was engraved with life and the other side was engraved with death. This was the 5th profound, life and death seal. Moreover, with the comprehension of the 5th profound of the Law of Life and Death, Qin Feiyang also grasped the 5th profound of the Law of Death and the Law of Life at the same time. His mind moved. The 5th profound of the Law of Death, Gate of Hell appeared. Damn! Comprehending one law is equivalent to comprehending 3 laws. How can people live like this? The madman looked at this scene and felt extremely unbalanced. If you can comprehend the law of life and death, you can also do this. The blood ancestor opened his eyes and looked at the madman. I want to, but I don't have this dog life. The madman said with jealousy. Qin Feiyang shook his head and looked at the 3 of them. Have you all cultivated enough? We're just waiting for you. The madman rolled his eyes. Qin Feiyang said, then let's set off. Do you have a destination? Princess Huifeng asked. Yes. The exit of the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. Because only by reaching the exit of the Sky Bell Divine Treasure would there be a chance to gather the people of the major forces. Moreover, this matter couldn't be rushed. He had to wait until he was about to leave the Sky Bell Divine Treasure before he could find the Primal Chaos Divine King. Because once he offended the Primal Chaos Divine King, it was equivalent to offending the entire Sky Bell Divine Treasure. He didn't care about skeletons. But he had to consider the sovereign divine weapons of the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. After all, the Primal Chaos Divine King was the ruler of this place. With an order, the sovereign divine weapons of the Sky Bell Divine Treasure would probably have to obey. No one knew how many sovereign divine weapons there were here. Therefore, after saving Li Feng and the 3 sovereign divine weapons, they had to immediately leave the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. This way, they could avoid being hunted down by the Primal Chaos Divine King. Or else, facing the pursuit of the Primal Chaos Divine King, even if they could successfully save Li Feng and the 3 sovereign divine weapons, it would be very difficult for them to leave the Sky Bell Divine Treasure alive. In short, rescuing Li Feng and the 3 sovereign divine weapons couldn't be rushed. It required a precise, thorough, and foolproof plan. The Gold Sun Divine Sword and the Silver Moon Divine Sword entered Qin Feiyang's body. Then, Qin Feiyang, the madman, and Princess Huifeng left the cave under the lead of the Blood Ancestor. As for the time array, the Blood Ancestor didn't destroy it. He left it for the fated person. The blood ancestor had been to the Sky Bell Divine Treasure before. Although he didn't have a complete understanding of the Sky Bell Divine Treasure, he at least knew the location of the exit. According to the blood ancestor, the exit of the Sky Bell Divine Treasure was in the west, located in the central area of a mountain called the Myriad Peaks Ridge. Their current location was south of the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. It would take them 50 years to reach the Myriad Peaks Ridge even if they didn't stop. Of course. Qin Feiyang wasn't in a hurry. Along the way, he carefully looked for divine items like nomological miniatures, nomological inheritances, and sovereign divine weapons. Chapter 37:16. In the blink of an eye. Another 2 months passed. It had been almost 16 years since Qin Feiyang and the others entered the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. Others didn't know, but Qin Feiyang's harvest was not small. Golden Sun Divine Sword, Silver Moon Divine Sword, Ice Phoenix Sword, Golden Dragon Spear, Silver Dragon Sword, Black Dragon Mirror, and the miniature of the Law of Slaughter. 6 sovereign divine weapons and a miniature of the law. If it was anyone else, they wouldn't even dare to think about it. Now, even if Qin Feiyang left the Sky Bell Divine Treasure, it could be considered a fruitful trip. But the adventure wasn't over yet. On this day, they passed by a swamp. Because it was a swamp, it was very humid and filled with miasma. Moreover, there were many skeletons here. Not to mention ferocious beast skeletons, even human-shaped skeletons could be seen everywhere. You have to pay special attention to places where skeletons gather. The blood ancestor stopped in the air and scanned the swamp below. Why? Qin Feiyang, madman. Princess Huafeng looked at him suspiciously. The blood ancestor looked at Princess Huafeng and said suspiciously, as the eldest princess of the Fire Phoenix clan, didn't the elders of the older generation tell you about the Sky Bell Divine Treasure? They told me a little, but it wasn't very detailed. And I heard from the elders that although they came here last time, the place they went was probably only the tip of the iceberg. So, what they know is not comprehensive. Princess Huafeng shook her head. That's true. Even the Feather Emperor and I, who provoked the Divine King of Primal Chaos, don't dare to say that we truly understand the Sky Bell Divine Treasure, let alone them. The blood ancestor's eyes were filled with disdain. But just as he finished speaking, the topic suddenly changed. He looked at Princess Huafeng and sneered, however, you should have agreed on a place to gather in advance, right? Qin Feiyang and Madman turned to look at Princess Huafeng. Princess Huafeng couldn't help but feel a trace of panic on her face. As expected. The blood ancestor laughed and looked at Princess Huafeng. The Feather Emperor and Little Rabbit didn't tell Qin Feiyang and the others because they wanted to train them, but it's different for you Feng people, dragons, and Qilins. Train us? Qin Feiyang and Madman. That. Could it be that you have never thought about why the Feather Emperor and the Little Rabbit didn't tell you about the Heaven Bell Divine Treasure before you entered it? Of the blood ancestor asked. We didn't think so much about it. Qin Feiyang shook her head. Of Azas. However, the Feather Emperor and the Little Rabbit did it out of painstaking effort. They didn't tell you guys about the Sky Bell Divine Treasure situation because they didn't want you guys to rely on them. They wanted to train your survival ability and your ability to react to danger. The blood ancestor explained. Qin Feiyang nodded and said in surprise, you know their intentions so well. Did you talk to them? No. But I know the Feather Emperor too well. I don't need to think to know what he wants. Otherwise, he wouldn't have told you about the first trial. The blood ancestor said. Indeed. Qin Feiyang nodded. If he knew about the first trial in advance and was mentally prepared, he wouldn't have fallen so deep into it. He wouldn't have had to comprehend the law of life and death to break the illusion. The Feather Emperor and Little Rabbit have high hopes for you. Same. I'm also looking forward to Li Feng's performance. Although I briefly mentioned the Sky Bell Divine Treasure to him before coming, I didn't explain it in detail. I also didn't set a meeting place with him in advance. I want to let him do as he pleases. But the Feng people, and the Kirin clan came here purely to find the law of life and death, as well as to subdue the sovereign divine weapon. Therefore, they must have agreed on a meeting place before entering the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. They will wait for everyone to meet before moving together. This way, everyone can take care of each other. The Blood Ancestor said. Lunatic said suspiciously, then why didn't Bing Running and the Golden Dragons go to the meeting place directly? Why did they come to provoke Old Qin? I can only say that they were unlucky. They accidentally bumped into Qin Feiyang. As for Bing Running, she was simply courting death. Isn't it better for her to live a good life? Why did she have to take the initiative to provoke him? The Blood Ancestor smiled disdainfully. That's true. Lunatic bared his teeth. However, Bing Running dared to provoke him because she was confident. After all, she had the Ice Phoenix sword. If it weren't for the ancient tower and the golden bell, Qin Feiyang would have been helpless against Bing Running's provocation. Because he couldn't catch up. Unfortunately. Man proposes, God disposes. Qin Feiyang turned to look at Princess Wufeng and frowned. Have you been lying to me? What did I lie to you about? Princess Wufeng said in a panic. Qin Feiyang asked, then look into my eyes and tell me, did the Feng people agree on a meeting place in advance? But Princess Wufeng didn't dare to look into Qin Feiyang's eyes. This meant that there was indeed an agreement in advance. Why did you lie to me? Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. Princess Wufeng was extremely flustered. You have to know that even if you have the Fire Phoenix Divine Jade and Fire Phoenix Sword to protect you, as long as I want to, I can forcefully control you and read your memories. Qin Feiyang said. Princess Wufeng's pupils constricted, and said helplessly, okay, I'll tell you. Actually, I hid it from you for your own good, and also for the sake of the clan. So, I still have to thank you. Hearing this, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but want to laugh. You should have thanked me. You already know that the Feng people, the dragons, and the Qilin clan have already formed an alliance. Our goal is to get rid of you in the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. Likewise. I also know your personality. If I let you know the meeting place, you will definitely find trouble with them. So, I can't let you meet, or else you will definitely fight. I'm purely being kind, but I didn't expect you to misunderstand. I really can't explain myself. Princess Wufeng said with grievance. Qin Feiyang was stunned, and said with a wry smile, all right, I apologize. Humph. Princess Wufeng coldly snorted, looked at the madman and Qin Feiyang, and said, no matter what the Feng people do with you, I have a clear conscience towards you. Yes. The two nodded and asked, then where is the meeting place? Do you really want to say it? If I say it, you promise not to look for them? Princess Wufeng asked. I don't dare to promise. After all, you also know that I want to use the three clans to rescue Li Feng and Lu Ding. But there is one thing that I can promise you. In the future, in the Sky Bell Divine Treasure, I won't cheat a single soldier, brick, or tile of your Fire Phoenix clan. Qin Feiyang said. Princess Wufeng shook her head and said, no, you have to promise that you won't cheat the Ice Phoenix clan. Hey, are you having a fever? The madman stretched out his hand and touched Princess Wufeng's forehead. You are the one with a fever. Princess Wufeng slapped the madman's hand away. If you don't have a fever, then what nonsense are you talking about? Bing Running and Bing Changtian treated you like this, and you still protect them? The madman said angrily. But after all, they are also members of the Feng people. Princess Wufeng said. As expected, you are so stupid that you are incurable. The madman shook his head. Okay. I promise that in the Sky Bell Divine Treasure, I won't hurt the phone people. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and nodded. I believe you. The place we agreed on is in the Dragon Tiger Mountain Range. I don't know the exact location, but I know the direction. It is in the southwest. Princess Huifeng said. Dragon Tiger Mountain Range. Qin Feiyang and the madman looked at the Blood Ancestor. The Blood Ancestor lowered his head and pondered for a moment. Suddenly, his eyes lit up and he nodded. I know where it is. It is indeed in the southwest. The last time we came to the Sky Bell Divine Treasure, we humans and dragons had a battle near the Dragon Tiger Mountain Range. Then should we go and find them now? The madman asked. No. Let's look for this swamp first. A place where skeletons gather usually hides a law miniature. The Blood Ancestor scanned the swamp below and said. A law miniature. Qin Feiyang, the madman, and Princess Huifeng's eyes lit up. You may not know, but the skeletons in the Sky Bell Divine Treasure can also fuse with law miniature, so for them, it is also a supreme treasure. The Blood Ancestor laughed. So, any skeleton that grasps the profound meaning of the law is a fused law miniature. Qin Feiyang was surprised. Not exactly. Many skeletons have awakened the laws they had when they were alive. And with the law miniature here, only purple gold skeletons are qualified to fuse with it. This is the rule of the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. The Blood Ancestor explained. Purple gold skeletons. Qin Feiyang was suspicious. He had never seen one before. The skeletons here are divided into 6 levels. Whether they are humanoid skeletons or ferocious beast skeletons, there are strong and weak ones. The first is the white skeletons. These skeletons are similar to ordinary skeletons. They don't have complete consciousness and rely on instinct to move. The second is the blood-colored skeletons. They already have a complete consciousness and grasp the profound meaning of ordinary laws. The third is the golden skeletons. They are even more powerful and have grasped the profound meaning of the strongest law. The fourth is the purple gold skeletons. Each of them has grasped 6 profound meanings and at least 1 profound meaning of the strongest law. Next is the fifth. The fifth is the skeletons that have condensed flesh and blood and have recovered the memories and methods of their previous life. Although they can't be compared to the primal chaos divine king and the 10 great demon kings, each of them has monstrous strength and have grasped an ordinary profound meaning. The last is the 10 great demon kings, who have grasped the profound meaning of the strongest law. The Blood Ancestor slowly explained. Chapter 37:17. In other words, as long as they comprehend the ultimate meaning, they can condense a body of flesh and blood? Madman asked. More or less. Blood Ancestor nodded. Then why was the Fire Lotus able to condense a body so quickly back then? Madman was puzzled. The Fire Lotus? Blood Ancestor was slightly taken aback. The Palace Master of 9 Heavens Palace? Yes. Madman nodded. Then what's her situation? Blood Ancestor was puzzled. Madman looked at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang explained the situation of the Flame Lotus in a simple and clear manner. I see. Then she's still very different from these skeletons. First of all, she's in the form of an undead, not a skeleton. Secondly, although she lost the memories of her previous life, her consciousness was still there. Lastly, the undead barrier-breaking pill you gave her. Although I've never seen this pill before, from what you said before, it should be a pill specially used to help the undead get rid of evil and death energy. Blood Ancestor guessed. Madman nodded. He turned to Qin Feiyang and asked, anyway, they're all undead. Do you think this undead barrier breaking pill has any effect on the skeletons here? I don't know. It's useless even if I know. First of all, I don't have any herbs right now. Second of all, I don't have a pill furnace or a pill flame. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Blood Ancestor's eyes flashed as he urged, don't worry about that for now. Let's quickly look around and see if there are any laws here. Okay. Qin Feiyang and the others nodded. Be careful. Although the skeletons below haven't attacked us yet, based on my experience, it should be the skeleton king of this swamp that ordered them to stay put. If he sees us entering his territory, the skeleton king might give the order for them to attack us together. Blood Ancestor whispered before taking the lead to enter the swamp below. Qin Feiyang and the others followed closely behind. You really dare to break into this king's territory? Kill them. Just as the four of them entered the swamp, a sinister laugh rang out from somewhere in the middle of the swamp. Following this voice, the originally motionless ferocious beast skeletons and humanoid skeletons immediately rushed towards Qin Feiyang's group as if they had gone mad. The power of the various great laws instantly swept across the sky. These were all white skeletons, so there was nothing to worry about. With the strength of the four of them, they could wipe out a large number of people with a wave of their hands. But not long after, blood-red figures flew out of the swamp one after another. There were human-shaped skeletons that were no different from ordinary people, and there were also skeletons of ferocious beasts that were as large as mountains. Their entire bodies seemed to be dyed in blood, and they emitted an astonishing baleful aura. It's actually a human, haha, it's really a pie falling from the sky, sending us such delicious food. There were at least a few hundred blood-colored skeletons. The souls of the dead in each eye socket seemed to be condensed from fresh blood. They were constantly jumping and filled with a bloodthirsty aura. Boom! All kinds of ordinary and supreme profundities covered the sky and covered the earth as they rushed towards Qin Feiyang and the others. Courting death. Killing intent surged in Madman's eyes. The supreme profundities of the space-time laws were activated, and the void of this world instantly collapsed, turning into a giant ice crystal-like hand that covered the sky and slammed towards those blood-colored skeletons. Boom! Accompanied by a deafening sound, a group of blood-colored skeletons were destroyed on the spot. At the same time, a vortex also appeared between the Blood Ancestor's eyebrows, and a huge bloody hand appeared and grabbed all the souls of the dead. You can also devour the souls of the dead. Qin Feiyang was shocked. Nonsense. Even Li Feng can do it, so how can this ancestor not do it? The Blood Ancestor laughed sinisterly. His eyes were blood-red and suffused with an astonishing baleful aura. All the souls of the dead were devoured by him. Awesome. Don't hide, come out and die. The Blood Ancestor scanned the surrounding swamp and laughed loudly. Arrogant. The voice from before sounded again. Dong. The next moment, the mud in the center of the swamp splashed as 11 figures charged out like lightning. There were 10 golden skeletons and 1 purple gold skeleton. Among the golden skeletons, there were 6 human-shaped skeletons and 4 ferocious beast skeletons. Their skeletons seemed to be made of gold, and from their appearance, they should be 4 giant tigers. The purple gold puppet was a human-shaped skeleton that was more than 2 meters tall. It was obviously a giant when it was alive. The souls of the dead in its eye sockets were like 2 purple gold flames, exuding an astonishing baleful aura. There's a purple gold skeleton. The Blood Ancestor was overjoyed. What's wrong? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Quickly get rid of them and find its nest. Because I sense the aura of the epitome of the laws on it. The Blood Ancestor thought to himself. The aura of the epitome of the laws. Qin Feiyang was slightly taken aback. He raised his head and looked at the purple gold skeleton. After careful observation, he found that there was indeed a trace of an unusual aura on it. It seemed to be the aura of an extreme flame. The blood ancestor said, judging from this aura, it is in the process of merging. Quickly get rid of it. Leave the purple gold skeleton to me. You guys deal with the rest. The madman rushed toward the purple gold skeleton as if he had been injected with chicken blood. He didn't care what kind of epitome of the laws it was. He just wanted to get it first. Qin Feiyang and Princess Huifeng looked at each other and immediately jumped toward the 10 golden skeletons. On the other hand, the blood ancestor. For a moment, he stood aside and looked at Qin Feiyang and the others with eyes full of expectation. You're courting death. The purple gold skeleton sneered and instantly activated the 6 supreme profundities of the laws, including the supreme profundities of the law of destruction and the law of karma. Sure enough, it has mastered the 6 supreme profundities. The madman muttered. The 6 supreme profundities were comparable to the patriarchs of the various clans. They were called super powerhouses. Are you confident? Qin Feiyang asked with a smile. He and Princess Huifeng were already fighting the 10 golden skeletons. Each of these golden skeletons also mastered a supreme profundities of the supreme profundities of the laws. 10 of them were equivalent to 10 supreme profundities of the supreme profundities of the laws. Qin Feiyang didn't have such a lineup, but Princess Huifeng seemed to be having a hard time. Don't worry. The madman chuckled. Boom! A ferocious power roared out. His body, which was originally 7 feet tall, instantly turned into a giant that was 100 feet tall. Shatter for me. The madman roared and threw a punch at the 6 supreme profundities with his flesh and blood body. Boom! The power of this punch could be said to be terrifying beyond compare. The supreme profundities of the 4 ordinary laws disintegrated on the spot. Even the supreme profundities of the law of karma and the law of destruction were blocked by his punch. What? Qin Feiyang was shocked. He knew that the madman was very strong after transforming, but he didn't expect him to be this strong. Back in the Yin demon land, he didn't seem to be this strong. This is the strength of the blood demon after transforming. On top of that, his fleshly body has already reached the level of a paragon. Therefore, his strength after transforming has far exceeded the supreme level. He can even compete with the supreme profundities of the supreme profundities of the supreme profundities. The blood ancestor was like a kind elder, his face full of a gratified smile. Of course. According to seniority, he was indeed the elder of Qin Feiyang and the others. So strong. The purple gold skeleton was also shocked. What kind of monster was this? His strength was actually this strong. Surprised? The madman chuckled. The law of space and time and the law of death roared out. The 2 supreme profundities attacked, and coupled with his own terrifying strength, the other party's supreme profundities of the law of karma and the law of destruction were shattered on the spot. Immediately after, the madman used the ghost steps, and his aura instantly disappeared. Like a ghost, he appeared behind the purple gold skeleton. Boom! Immediately, his fist, which was as heavy as a mountain, smashed towards the purple gold skeleton. No, the purple gold skeleton roared in despair. The next moment, its skeleton body was shattered by the madman's punch. Strong! Princess Huifeng's heart trembled. Was this the strength of the madman? Just with the strength after transforming, he could compete with the supreme profundities. What kind of monster was this? Not good. Suddenly, a strong sense of crisis swept over. Princess Huifeng turned around and saw a golden skeleton appear behind her without anyone noticing. It let out a sinister laugh. Humph! In the nick of time, Great Princess Fire Phoenix released 2 strands of power. One was the power of the Ice Phoenix, and the other was the power of the Fire Phoenix. The 2 powers merged into one and condensed into a barrier. Chirp! The next moment, An ice phoenix and a fire phoenix rushed out and pounced on the golden skeleton. Accompanied by a scream, the golden skeleton was shattered on the spot. At the same time, Qin Feiyang also used the space-time step, activated the supreme profundities of the law of destruction and the law of karma, and defeated the other 9 skeletons one by one. Seeing that the battle was over, the blood ancestor finally made his move. The bloody hand reached out from between his eyebrows and grabbed the souls of the purple gold skeleton and the 10 golden skeletons, and directly swallowed them. Boom! As the law energy of the purple gold skeleton and the 10 golden skeletons were absorbed, the blood ancestor's body suddenly exploded with a loud bang, and a mighty power of death rolled out. Qin Feiyang and the other 2 hurriedly looked at the blood ancestor. The aura emitted by this power of death was so terrifying that even their bodies and minds were trembling uncontrollably. Was this the strength of the ultimate profundities? Huh, the law energy contained in the purple gold skeleton is indeed different. The blood ancestor laughed. Don't tell me your law of death has really broken through to the ultimate profundities? Qin Feiyang asked cautiously. How can I joke with you? The blood ancestor was full of smiles. Qin Feiyang's pupils shrank, and he frowned. The soul of the purple gold skeleton has such a huge amount of energy. Of course, it's impossible for a supreme law to be upgraded to the ultimate profundities with just the soul of the purple gold skeleton alone. Before I met you, I had already swallowed a large number of souls and was almost on the verge of a breakthrough. The blood ancestor said. That's what I said. How could a purple gold skeleton's soul be able to upgrade the law of death from the ultimate profundities to the ultimate profundities? Qin Feiyang suddenly smiled. But it's really enviable. Princess Huifeng whispered. For the blood ancestor and Li Feng, the Sky Bell Divine Treasury was undoubtedly a real treasure trove. It could even be said that, for them, the souls of the dead here were more valuable than the sovereign divine weapon and the law of death. Because as long as no one stopped them, and as long as they had enough time, the law energy they had mastered would be upgraded to the ultimate profundities sooner or later. Chapter 37:18. Suddenly, the blood ancestor's eyes flashed with a cold light as he sneered, with the improvement of the law of death, even if I face a sovereign weapon now, I have the power to fight. What do you mean? Qin Feiyang and Madman were surprised. I have a bold plan. But this plan is a secret for the time being. The blood ancestor smiled mysteriously. Qin Feiyang and Madman rolled their eyes. Wait. Didn't you say that those who master the ultimate profound of the strongest law can't enter the Sky Bell Divine Treasure? Madman was suspicious. Those who master the ultimate profound of the strongest law can't come in from the outside, but those who comprehend the ultimate profound inside won't be affected. The blood ancestor said. I see. Madman nodded in realization. Let's go and find the nest of the purple gold skeletons. The blood ancestor took a step forward and landed in the sky above the center of the swamp. His divine sense rolled down. At the same time, not far away, on a mountain peak, 3 figures stood side by side, restraining their aura like 3 ghosts. 2 old men and a middle-aged man. Why does he look familiar? The middle-aged man looked at the blood ancestor with a trace of suspicion on his face. It can't be so fast. Have you forgotten about this old devil? One of the old men in white said in a deep voice. Old devil. The middle-aged man was taken aback and looked up and down at the blood ancestor. One of the 3 leaders of the human race, the blood ancestor. The other old man in a green robe said. It's actually him. The middle-aged man's eyes trembled and his face was full of fear. Yes, it's him. I didn't expect him to still be alive. I didn't expect him to also come to the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. The eyes of the old man in white and the old man in green were also filled with fear. What they didn't expect was that the blood ancestor had raised the law of death to the ultimate level at this time. They were passing by and heard the battle fluctuations, so they wanted to come and take a look. When they came over, they didn't expect it to be Qin Feiyang in Madman. Originally, they wanted to see if they could find an opportunity to kill Qin Feiyang and the madman, but they didn't expect that the blood-red clothed old man standing next to them was the old demon who had once intimidated the Sky Cloud realm, the blood ancestor. Good. Even if it was the blood ancestor, it didn't matter. This was because they could see that the blood ancestor had yet to recover to his peak. After all, if he recovered to his peak, the blood ancestor would not be able to enter the heavenly bell divine treasure. Since he hadn't recovered to his peak, he would find an opportunity to eliminate him. However, they had never expected that the blood ancestor would break through before they could find an opportunity. The ultimate profundity of the laws of death. Against such a terrifying technique, the blood progenitor wouldn't even fear a sovereign weapon, let alone them. Thus, they had already given up on the idea of attacking. Let's go. The green-robed old man sighed helplessly as he looked at the white-robed old man and the middle-aged man. Leaving just like that? The middle-aged man frowned. What else? You should know that it's not just the blood ancestor. Qin Feiyang also has a sovereign weapon. As for us, although we've grasped ultimate profundities, they're only ordinary ultimate profundities. Fighting against them is simply courting death. The green-robed old man said. But isn't there still the eldest princess of the Fire Phoenix clan? The middle-aged man was unwilling to give up. Her. The green-robed old man snorted coldly and said, "Can't you see? She's in cahoots with Qin Feiyang. I really don't know how the Fire Phoenix clan leader taught her. She's such a traitor. In that case, if there's a chance, we'll get rid of this woman too." The middle-aged man clenched his hands. Let's talk about it when there's a chance. Now, let's hurry and meet up with everyone. The green-robed old man shook his head. Wait a moment. They seem to be looking for something. The white-robed old man raised his hand. The green-robed old man and the middle-aged man looked suspiciously. Above the swamp, not only the blood ancestor, but Qin Feiyang and the other two also released their divine senses and began a thorough search of the swamp. Suddenly, their divine senses were all focused on a certain spot in the ground. Deep underground, there was a stone cave about 100 feet wide. Around the stone cave, there was a barrier formed by the power of law that could conceal the aura inside. Let's go down and take a look. The blood ancestor said. The four immediately activated their power of law and condensed a barrier around their bodies. This was to avoid being dirty by the mud, and then they rushed into the swamp. Sure enough, they're looking for something. Could it be the epitome of the laws? On the mountain peak, the middle-aged man was surprised. The green-robed old woman shook her head and said, even if it's the epitome of the laws, it's not something we can touch. Not necessarily. Things in this world are hard to predict. Maybe an opportunity will appear in the next moment. The white-robed old man's eyes flickered. The green-robed old woman looked at the two and couldn't help but frown. Were they courting death? Whoosh! But at this moment, on the other side, another four figures broke through the air. They were two men and two women. All of them looked middle-aged, and their auras were restrained to the extreme. It's them. The green-robed old woman and the other two were stunned. They didn't expect the opportunity to really come. The ripples from the previous battle came from here. And this time, there are obvious traces of battle, but why is there no one here? The two men and two women flew above the swamp and looked down suspiciously. Friends from the Ice Phoenix clan, come here. Suddenly, a voice sounded in their minds. The two men and two women were stunned. They raised their heads and scanned their surroundings. Soon, they saw the green-robed old man and the other two on the mountain peak not far away. The three of them were waving at the four of them. The old antiques of the dragons. The four of them were stunned. They secretly became vigilant and flew toward the mountain peak. I really didn't expect to meet you. The green-robed old man chuckled. The three of you are. The four of them landed on the mountain peak and looked at them suspiciously. We also followed the battle fluctuations. The green-robed old man whispered. Is that so? The four of them looked at each other and asked, then who was fighting here just now? The middle-aged man's eyes flashed, and he said truthfully, Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, the eldest princess of the Fire Phoenix clan, and the Blood Ancestor. What? It's actually them. Wait, what did you say? The Blood Ancestor. And the eldest princess of the Foam people? The four of them were surprised. That's right. The Blood Ancestor suppressed the 8 barren lands back then. We definitely recognized him. As for the eldest princess of the Foam people, humph. We agreed to an alliance, but you actually colluded with Qin Feiyang and the others. I really feel bad for the Foam people. The green-robed old man and the other two added fuel to the fire. Isn't the Blood Ancestor dead? The four of them frowned. Yes. We were also very surprised when we saw him just now. But fortunately, he hasn't recovered to his peak state yet. The four of you, since we met here, why don't we join forces and eliminate them? The green-robed old man and the other two began to instigate. Eliminate, the four of them pondered for a while and frowned. It's possible to eliminate Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, and the Blood Ancestor, but the eldest princess of the Foam people, they looked a little hesitant. She has already colluded with Qin Feiyang. What's there to worry about? Moreover, this eldest princess has mastered 2 supreme laws. In time, her status in the Foam people will definitely be important. And she is a member of the Fire Phoenix clan. When she grows up, I'm afraid it will be very disadvantageous to the Ice Phoenix clan. The green-robed old man and the other two sneered. The four of them frowned and said in a low voice, but she left her divine spirit in the phoenix nest. When she tells Lord Feng Ho, how should we explain it? That's simple. She's in cahoots with Qin Feiyang, isn't that the best reason? I'm afraid that when the time comes, when Feng Ho finds out, not only will he not help her, but he will also scold her. The green-robed old man and the other two said. Hearing this, the four of them could not help but nod. Our plan is like this, the green-robed old man and the other two immediately whispered in the ears of the four of them. At the same time. About 10,000 feet underground. Qin Feiyang and the other three finally arrived in front of the stone cave. As Qin Feiyang waved his hand, a power of law surged toward the stone cave. With a buzz, a barrier appeared. This was a barrier condensed by the power of destruction. You want to stop this ancestor with this? The Blood Ancestor smiled disdainfully and took a step forward. The power of death surged as he slapped the barrier, shattering it on the spot. Then. The four of them entered the stone cave. Below the stone cave, there was magma surging, and the scorching heat rushed toward them. And in the center of the stone cave, there was an unusual flame floating. That flame was like a strand of hair. It was extremely small, but it emitted a terrifying aura. When they saw that flame, Qin Feiyang and the other three's eyes lit up. The miniature of the law of fire. How is it? I didn't lie to you, right? The Blood Ancestor smiled proudly. You are wise. Qin Feiyang and Frenzy flattered. Huh, the Blood Ancestor laughed and looked at the two. Take it, this ancestor doesn't need it. Huh. Qin Feiyang and Frenzy were surprised. I have a secret technique, why would I need this miniature of the law of fire? The Blood Ancestor smiled proudly. That's true. Then we won't be polite. Qin Feiyang gritted his teeth and stepped forward to grab the miniature of the Law of Fire. Then, the four of them searched for a while and didn't find anything else. They left the underground and appeared above the swamp again. The miniature of the Law of Fire. On top of the mountain. Looking at the miniature of the Law of Fire in Qin Feiyang's palm, the eyes of the green-robed old man and the other three revealed a look of greed. Follow the plan. The middle-aged man transmitted his voice. The two men and two women nodded and immediately rushed down the mountain silently, approaching the swamp. At the same time, Frenzy looked at the miniature of the Law of Fire and said to Qin Feiyang, "We and the white-eyed wolf haven't grasped the Law of Fire, so who should we give it to?" "Me." Hearing Frenzy's words, Princess Huafeng immediately shouted in her heart. Her eyes were filled with desire because she had grasped the Law of Fire. "We have so many people around us, are you afraid that no one will want it?" Qin Feiyang looked at the miniature of the Law of Fire and laughed. He was about to put it away when he suddenly noticed Princess Huafeng's expression. His eyes couldn't help but flicker. Chapter 37:19. Give it to me. It's useless to you anyway. Princess Huafeng muttered in her heart, but she was too embarrassed to say it out loud. Because with the current relationship between the Feng people and Qin Feiyang really had no reason to take care of her. But suddenly, Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and the miniature of the Law of Fire flew in front of Princess Huafeng. Ha! Princess Huafeng was stunned. The madman and the blood ancestor were also stunned. What was going on? He was actually giving it to this woman. No matter how useless it was, he couldn't give it to his future enemy. Was this kid out of his mind? Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "You're not dreaming. This is for you." Why? At this moment, Princess Huafeng felt like she was dreaming. It was too unreal. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "Isn't this because we want to use your people in the future? So we need you to cooperate with us." The madman and the blood ancestor suddenly realized that they were trying to bribe Princess Huafeng. Calculating it this way, it was still worth it. After all, the value of the 3 divine weapons of the Green Cauldron far exceeded the value of a Law of Fire. And if they didn't bribe Princess Huafeng first, what if they accidentally revealed their plan? Wouldn't all their efforts be in vain? Besides, in the end, Princess Huafeng might really get together with the white-eyed wolf. This way, it wouldn't be a loss. There is indeed a collusion. Preposterous. The 2 men and 2 women hiding below couldn't help but have a hint of killing intent in their eyes when they saw this scene. Just as this killing intent appeared, Qin Feiyang was startled and said to himself, "Not good, there's killing intent." Killing intent? The madman and the other 2 were also shocked. The blood ancestor didn't have much contact with Qin Feiyang. But madman was different from Princess Huafeng. The madman and Qin Feiyang were friends who had gone through thick and thin together. He knew Qin Feiyang as well as he knew himself. Princess Huafeng had also interacted with Qin Feiyang for a long time. Therefore, they all knew that Qin Feiyang was especially sensitive to killing intent. Therefore, he firmly believed Qin Feiyang's words. Since he said there was a murderous aura, there must be other people hiding nearby. Don't tell anyone. Pretend you don't know. Just as the 3 of them were about to search, Qin Feiyang secretly said. The madman and the other 2 looked at each other and understood. This was to catch the other side off guard. We're all on the same side, there's no need to be so courteous. Hurry up and accept it. Qin Feiyang looked at Princess Huafeng and smiled amiably. He said that on purpose. And he also said it on purpose for the people hiding in the dark to hear. Because other than the Black Flame Devil King, only the dragons, the Feng people, and the Kirin clan could have the intention to kill him. But it would never be the Black Flame Devil King. Because if it was the Black Flame Devil King, it would definitely not be so cautious and directly attack them. Therefore, the people hiding in the dark were definitely from the three major races. As for whether it was the Feng people, the dragons, or the Kirin clan, it didn't matter at all. Because the three major races had already formed an alliance, no matter which side it was, when they heard what he said to Princess Wufeng, it would have the effect of sowing discord. Although this method was a bit despicable and there was the suspicion of using Princess Wufeng, it was nothing compared to the alliance of the three major races against him. All right. Princess Wufeng nodded and unceremoniously put away the miniature of the Law of Fire. In fact, she also knew that Qin Feiyang was scheming in his heart, but it didn't matter. Anyway, they had already come this far. Besides, she also didn't want to go against her heart. Because she really couldn't bring herself to hate Qin Feiyang in frenzy. Even if she constantly reminded herself in her heart that these two were the future enemies of the Feng people and couldn't get too close to them, it didn't have the slightest effect. Then let's go. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Okay. Frenzy and the other two nodded. Boom. Clang. Just as the four of them turned around, accompanied by a series of loud sounds, four monstrous divine auras suddenly emerged from the swamp below. What? There are actually 4 sovereign divine weapons. Although Qin Feiyang and the other 3 knew that there was an ambush, when these 4 divine auras emerged, they were still shocked. Wait. These 4 auras, it's the Profound Ice Divine Hammer, Profound Ice Divine Bow, Profound Sky Divine Sword, and Profound Sky Fan. Princess Wufeng exclaimed. Qin Feiyang and Frenzy had already recognized the auras of the Profound Ice Divine Hammer and Profound Ice Divine Bow. As for the Profound Sky Divine Sword and Profound Sky Fan, they were also familiar with them. Because when Bing Changtian came to ambush them, he had brought 5 sovereign divine weapons, which were the Ice Phoenix Sword, Profound Ice Divine Hammer, Profound Ice Divine Bow, Profound Sky Divine Sword, and Profound Sky Fan. And these were the 5 sovereign divine weapons of the Ice Phoenix clan. The 5 sovereign divine weapons of the Fire Phoenix clan were the Fire Phoenix Divine Jade, Fire Phoenix Sword, Fire Phoenix Saber, and Divine Phoenix Spear. Qin Feiyang had seen the 5th sovereign divine weapon before. Qin Feiyang and the other 3 looked panicked and they saw the 4 sovereign divine weapons charging towards them. The 2 men and 2 women of the Ice Phoenix clan, as well as the green-robed old man and the other 2 on the mountain peak, all revealed cold smiles. It was so sudden, coupled with the sneak attack without warning, no matter how strong they were, they couldn't react in time. Anyway, in their eyes, Qin Feiyang and the other 3 were already corpses. However, just as Qin Feiyang and the other 3 were about to die, with a loud clang, the ancient castle, the sword of the Grim Reaper, and the crimson longsword of the Demon Hall appeared instantly. Clang! As soon as the 3 sovereign divine weapons appeared, they immediately attacked the Profound Ice Divine Hammer, Profound Ice Divine Bow, and Profound Sky Divine Sword. As for Princess Wufeng, Qin Feiyang and the others didn't need to help. After all, she alone had 2 sovereign divine weapons. Clang! The Fire Phoenix Sword appeared and blocked the Profound Sky Fan. What? The 4 from the Ice Phoenix clan and the 3 from the green-robed elder froze. How could this be? Wasn't this reaction too fast? One had to know that at such a close distance, even if the ancient castle's sovereign divine weapons didn't know beforehand, it was impossible for them to counterattack so quickly. Qin Feiyang and the other 3 finally turned around and looked down at the swamp below. Soon, they found the 2 men and 2 women. Surprise! A well-planned sneak attack. How could we counterattack? Qin Feiyang laughed. The 4 of them had ugly expressions. 4 uncles, what are you doing? Do you want to kill me too? Princess Wufeng glared at the 4 of them. Humph. The 4 of them snorted coldly and flew into the air. They glared at Princess Wufeng and said, as the eldest princess of the Feng people, you refuse to change your ways and continue to wallow in the mire with them. Don't you deserve to be killed? I didn't. Princess Huifeng shook her head. We heard the conversation between you and Qin Feiyang clearly. You're one of us now. We even gave you the epitome of the laws. How dare you deny it? One of the women shouted. You've misunderstood. I'm just friends with them. Princess Huifeng explained. Shut up. The woman shouted impatiently and said in a deep voice, I'll give you a choice now. Do you want to continue fooling around with them or come to my side and help me get rid of them? Princess Huifeng was in a difficult position. Don't force her. We'll settle our grudges. Qin Feiyang looked at the four of them and said calmly. Then, he looked at Princess Huifeng and said, step aside. But, Princess Huifeng looked anxious. What she was worried about still happened. Qin Feiyang said to himself, don't worry. Didn't they leave their divine souls in the phoenix nest? Even if we kill them, they won't really die. All right. Princess Huifeng nodded helplessly. Then, she turned around and retreated with the fire phoenix sword. You're still retreating to the side to watch the show. Why do the phone people have a white-eyed wolf like you? The four of them were furious. The madman said disdainfully, the four of you are elders. How dare you force a junior like this? I really admire your shamelessness. Don't be arrogant. You even took out the castle. It seems that you only have these 3 rulers' divine weapons. 3 rulers' divine weapons and you dare to be arrogant with us. Kill them. The 4 of them roared. It was as if they had killed their wife. The 4 rulers' divine weapons immediately erupted with terrifying divine power and attacked the castle, the sword of the Grim Reaper, and the crimson longsword. Retreat. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. The Blood Ancestor immediately activated momentary time and retreated with Qin Feiyang and the madman. Isn't there still the Ice Phoenix Sword, Gold Sun Divine Sword, and Silver Moon Divine Sword? Why do you only let the castle and the others attack? The madman was suspicious. Qin Feiyang looked around and sent a voice transmission. Earlier, when the 4 sovereign divine armaments of the Profound Ice Divine Hammer ambushed us, I seemed to have sensed a trace of killing intent. However, it should have been very far away, so I couldn't be sure. You mean, there are other people hiding nearby? The madman thought. I don't know. But we have to be careful. Qin Feiyang said. So, if you show weakness first, if there are really people hiding in the dark and see us at a disadvantage, they will definitely not be able to resist and attack. The madman thought. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. The Blood Ancestor looked at Qin Feiyang. Was he so sensitive to killing intent? After pondering for a while, he thought, if that's the case, then with me here, they won't dare to attack you easily. Then let's see if they know that you have grasped the ultimate meaning of the law of death. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. If they didn't know, they would definitely choose to attack, but if they knew, they would only dare to come out when the Blood Ancestor was restrained. The 7 rulers' divine weapons clashed, and a terrifying divine power enveloped the surroundings, causing the world to collapse. Qin Feiyang should only have these 3 rulers' divine weapons. Should we attack? On the mountain peak. The middle-aged man stared at the battlefield and asked in a low voice. Because the Ice Phoenix Sword and the other 2 rulers' divine weapons had been in Qin Feiyang's body for the past few months, even if the green-robed old man and the others came here early, they didn't see the 3 rulers' divine weapons. So, now that the castle, the Sword of Thanatos, and the Red Sword were restrained, their biggest concern was the Blood Ancestor. No. The Blood Ancestor hasn't attacked yet. With his strength, he can easily kill us. The old man in white shook his head. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.